why you don't announce when you're going to start a Q&A, because, just barely made it here on time.
I was ready to go.
Well, you didn't do shit all day, did you?
No, I didn't work today.
Really? What time did you get off?
5.
Well, whatever.
But
you didn't have to go anywhere.
I had to go get my daughter.
Or you could have just left her there.
Ooh. Oh, I didn't think about that.
You didn't remind me to show you a video that my daughter, of all people, showed me that would be really funny and involves Asians and their accents.
Oh, boy.
And I think you'll appreciate it.
Oh, boy.
Man, you got this thing loaded down with
drinks.
with all kinds of stuff,
Lots
right?
of drinks.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to drink your stuff. I brought my own
That's
stuff.
not all my... That's like everybody's stuff.
Communal drinking thing?
Yeah, it's like... I guess they figure, well, when I come back next time, I'll get it. In case I forget to bring something.
So what did you do for St. Patrick's Day?
I celebrated Oktoberfest.
Oh, hey, I'm starting tonight. I didn't get a chance to do anything. Look, it's even got a little hoodie for little Mitch.
Oh my gosh.
Well, and a lot of extra space.
Is that after you drink the whole bottle, you're like, I wonder if I can fit into that.
There you go.
I'll bet you $10 you can't.
Oh, I bet you can't get yourself in there. All right, so that's what I'm drinking tonight. So we got a little Q&A thing here. We normally would do that on a game night, but because
Tony was thirsty.
Yeah, over ice. And if you don't like your whiskey on ice, then stay back in the UK. This is America.
We're 2 hours in America. America.
Cheers.
Cheers. For some of you, it's the weekend. For others, over hump day. Yay!
Yeah, it's hump day for you, right? Yeah, it's hump day for you.
I'm over halfway.
Oh man, here we go. There we go.
Oh.
All right.
I thought you wanted to zoom in on the alcohol.
It's okay. We don't drink that much. I only drink when I'm on camera.
Exactly. Exactly.
Anyhow, so yeah, so I got a lot of Q&A questions, and they're really interesting. And I did not want to wait until.
Yeah, we're doing a question and thing on.
Well, no, not necessarily all DBA 3.0 questions. There's some questions in here that were submitted that are not DBA related, and they are PG. Don't worry about it. Do not get excited. This isn't truth or dare, because I'm kind of a truth person. I know you're more into dares and stuff. Oh, to do the dares? Spin the bottle? Yeah. No.
Quick drink.
I don't. You know what? I normally say keep it above the waist. Make an exception this time. I don't want to be part of any of that. Okay, let me get something to mark off the questions, because there is a bunch of them, and the gold star goes to a new guy this time.
This is multiple people, right? It's not just one guy.
It's multiple people, but one guy had a Woody to ask questions. Let's put it that way. But that's good. I mean, they're entertaining, so hopefully you guys will be entertained as we will too. And as always, any new questions that you guys may have, we'll get to those at the end. So, because it's 7 o'clock at.
It's early.
It's early.
Early for some
and we
people.
have no plans to do any DBA gaming later tonight. So,
nope.
So it's not like we can be on here. You guys keep bringing the questions. We can be on here 4 or 5 hours, right?
I know there's.
What time do you have to go to work in the morning?
Not in the morning. I close on the weekends, so then I don't have to work during the week.
Oh, so you're like a slacker. You wake up.
Yeah.
What time do you work? So you work tomorrow?
Yeah.
At like 2?
Pretty close, 1:45.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you wake up at?
It depends.
Are you up by 9 a.m.?
Oh yeah, usually.
What do you usually?
Yeah, usually.
You waste your whole day off.
I don't know how much of this I'll drink tonight.
This guy will wake up at 5 a.m. Okay, we got painting to do. I'll do my turns quick, and I should be back online. By 6 a.m. So you guys can listen to a monologue of somebody that
when
is
you're sobering up. No, them.
Oh, them. Oh,
yeah.
okay. I'm like,
not you, them.
No, if I had 2 beers, I'd be messed up. This whiskey doesn't mess me up.
I figured they'd be drinking along with us, and then they're like, even when we go off, they'll keep on going. Passed out next to the TV.
Yeah. Okay, so we got some questions. If we got some new ones, we'll get to them at the end. So, welcome, TGIF. Now it's TGIF at the end of the day.
Thank God it's hump day. For those of you who
because your weekend is Monday and Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Sucks to be you.
Not. Well, I love it. I love it.
Okay. So does everybody else that wants the weekends off. They go, that sucker Mitch will work for me.
Yeah, just think of it. It's like, oh, you guys got to work and.
Okay, so these questions aren't necessarily DVA 3.0 related. You guys want to ask questions? They can be 3.0 related or not. I mean, hell, we're not even the authors of this rule set. So, I mean, you can ask us other things, so. Okay.
No, I hope there's no train questions like what happens if one leaves at Paris and what time does it get to... No, none of that.
Wait, but math is your strong suit.
So, I'm not going there.
Okay,
Nope.
all right. Okay, first question comes from Australian Greg.
Hey.
Also known as Greg Callaghan. Drink. He's Irish. Well, he's not Irish, but
to the 17th.
His people were. I guess he's as Irish as I am Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow.
Yeah.
Wow, you really need to work on your language class. Okay. Greg, here's a couple of discussion points. Now that you have played 4 games with the late Hungarians, what do you consider their strength and weaknesses?
You said that later. They did? Or what?
The late Hungarians. As opposed to the early ones. The later Hungarians. What do you consider? Are they late? Yeah, they're dead. In 3 of the games they were. Not that you've played 4 games with them. What do you consider their strengths and weaknesses? Secondly, do you like playing with Hungarians or is it too early to make that call? How about you answer the question of what you think their strengths and weaknesses are? Since it's not his army.
Well, I know the foot is definitely a strength. I think all heavy foot. Having some heavy foot is always a good
so I converted you.
Oh, I believe in that, yeah.
Oh, really? You've always believed in that?
Yeah, I always like I like the fast blade as the heavy foot.
Well, that's still heavy foot.
Yeah, but that's my version.
They're just a little light on their feet.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But I think
they got a blade, 2 solid spear.
Yeah, I think that's a good combo.
Yeah,
that's a good combo. I think that's their strength. Weakness. You gotta be a little careful with it.
You're gonna think 3 light horse is too many.
Well, no, I don't mind light horse because they.
How about 3 of them?
Yeah, I'd rather.
Well, you don't mind Saloy, but you don't like 3 of them.
Right.
You think 3's too many.
Yeah, like Saloy and light horse, like 2 is like the max for me.
Okay.
But I'd rather have 3 light horse than 3 Saloy.
See, I'd rather have 3 Saloy.
Ha.
You know why?
Why?
Hold on, let me think about it.
Uh-oh. You know why? I don't know. Let me get back to you. Let me get back around.
No,
here.
because if there's terrain, there's going to be some kind of terrain, and Saloy are going to be happy to be in that. Okay. Hopefully. Light horse are like, oh shit, there's terrain. Let me go somewhere other than there. So I think that what are light horse really good for?
Yeah, on the flank.
Going after knights.
Yeah.
And enveloping people.
Yeah.
But if you don't need to do that to win the game, and they're so susceptible to bow fire. They are so susceptible to bow fire.
But they're super fast.
And lately, I think, when I've backed them up, they've had, in situations that I wouldn't call risky, they have died frequently from that flea thing. In other words, I've gone in knowing that if I get doubled, I get fled by heavy infantry, and done it like at a 3-3. And rolled poorly and got the guy killed for no reason when I was doubling him up. So the double up doesn't help. It's actually, what's the most helpful against? Knights. Mm-hmm. Like my Irish general that's a light horse, when he goes in and he's got somebody behind me and he's fighting a knight, oh yeah, it's game over for the night.
Or even, they're good against cav too. The 2
because they won't flee. They won't flee.
They won't flee.
They
so
won't
cav,
flee.
knights, they like that. I'd rather have, to me, I'd rather have the light cav because if you don't have enough terrain, I hate having Saloy out in the open. I hate that.
You hate it when Saloy are out in the open and the knight charges them and
or
they
there's
kill
just
the knight.
somebody out there that's
you hate it when the knight gets killed?
drooling over the Saloy.
Well, maybe it's just part of it. I don't know. I don't mind Saloy.
Mm-hmm.
I want to even go on a limb and say I could handle 4. I know that's crazy. But remember, I've played my Ostrogoths a lot, and they have 6. They have 6 Saloy and 6 knights.
They're like extreme.
They're
killer
extremists.
dudes, and you got.
Well, you think knights are better than I do.
Yeah, I like them.
And see, knights. That's like your most. What's the most powerful element? You would say. You would say knights,
I'd
right?
say knights, yeah.
And see, I would say bow, and because I take bow against all mounted all the time, and they don't have to be longbow.
Yeah.
Just because I can make your life a living hell. Yes, I can lose if you contact me, but I've got a bigger number than you.
Yeah.
And if I overlap you, now you're even worse. And I'm slinging that big number at you. You know,
Yeah.
I love painting knights.
Yeah.
But you know.
Yeah.
And now the deep knights with these guys is, in the matchups that we did, we kind of picked 4 matchups that someone else doesn't have an army for him. Like for instance, Joe has the Italian Condata, so we avoided that battle on purpose. Because after the fact, Joe mentioned a couple days ago, said, "Hey, you're not going to play the game with the Condata." I said, "No, I'm saving it for you."
It's
What about the
all for
Serbs?
you, Joe.
He's
It's
building
all
the
for
Serbs
you.
next.
Yeah, see.
We're not going to do the Serbs.
Yeah,
You know,
see.
it makes sense that you would play them.
Yep.
You know,
Exactly.
they fight against the early Germans, the Germans that Scott has. It makes sense that Scott would play against them. You know, just common sense, common courtesy kind of
Your
thing.
time's coming, Joe.
Yeah, your time's coming. So the time cometh.
Be ready.
So strength-wise, I think the heavy infantry as well. You know, and I think the heavy infantry, you got a core of 3 heavy infantry and 2 shooters. So either the war wagons or the bows, either one I'd be fine with. The funny thing is the battle that they won was the one where they had no shooters. But they almost lost that one.
Yeah. We're spoiler alert.
Yeah, tough. You've had days to watch it,
Yeah.
okay? It's like exciting. There's beautiful figures
It's
there.
the first battle, so there's no shoot.
There's good music.
Yeah.
There's good music.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
It was
it's good
I liked
music,
it.
yeah.
I always tune in to see that. Oh.
Yeah. Well, you know what happened because you were there. It's just for the music and stuff, you know. But yeah, that first battle against the Ottomans was the opposite of the battle against the Poles.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
The battle against the Ottomans, I should have lost the way it was, and I won it. And the battle against the Poles, I should have won and lost it.
Yeah.
So, hey, but that's why we play this silly
That's
game,
why we
right?
play.
Look, you already got another beer?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I drink whiskey.
And some nice salty meat. Corned beef. Ooh.
That's okay. That's what you're into.
I'm still celebrating the 17th.
Okay. And do I like playing with the Hungarians? Yeah, I like playing with them.
I thought those matchups were really, except for the last one.
Now-
the Hussites are.
Now, one thing I mentioned that people find incredulous, that after I spend a couple hundred hours painting an army, I'm not that interested in playing them because I've seen them for 200 or 300 hours. Okay, I'm more of a. Well, we won't ask you this question because we know it is. But somebody asked me, am I more of a gamer, or am I more of a painter? And I say I'm probably 60% painter. Because I can game and do other things on computer and stuff like that. But what it means is gamer with the miniatures, I'd rather paint the miniatures. I use the games to motivate me to paint.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't play DBA. I wouldn't have gotten into DBA if somebody said, "You can't paint any armies for that." I wouldn't have gotten into it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't mind like playing your armies, or they don't even have to look good. They just whatever, use counters. I don't mind doing that. But for me, the attraction is to paint. Anybody can play the game.
Mm-hmm.
Almost anybody can play the game.
Yep.
But yeah, I enjoy playing with them. But you know,
Cool.
I'm already looking like, okay, what else can I do?
They're cool.
I like doing the research and figuring out what kind of armies you can do and what figures you do. Or you know, somebody asks, hey, what army can I use? Like somebody asked the other day, it's like, hey, who makes figures for the Hussites? Well, shit, I know, because that's what I do. I surf figures, and you know, as long as there's pictures of them, you know, it's exciting to. I'm interested in just about every army. Doesn't mean I'm going to buy them, but it's just cool to like, hey, you look at an army, like, that's kind of neat. So then you look who makes the figures for. I mean, what figures you would buy for each one. You know, this is just going over your head because you don't do any of this stuff.
Yep.
But
That's, when I want to do an army, I'm like, hey, who's got the best figures for this?
yeah, just ask me.
I do, and he tells me, and I'm like, okay.
That's what I do. You know all the football stats.
Yeah.
And I don't know none of that shit. I know useful
Except
things
this year
like,
I didn't play
figures.
foul this year.
Oh, how convenient.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so hopefully that answers your question, Australian Greg. Greg from Oz. Okay, then we got CJ Hobbyfly. I don't know where he's from, but his icon shows the Union Jack. So he's somewhere from the UK, hopefully. Or he wants to be from the UK.
There you go.
Do either of you have any 28 millimeter size armies? I do see you're probably constricted with the space you have. No, we live in America. We can have like 90 millimeter size
knock
armies.
this wall
Oh
off
no,
right
it's not a space issue for us, man. We don't live in a flat here.
Yeah. We got plenty of room.
We got plenty of room.
Yeah.
Is 28 millimeter a popular scale? Do you play any other war? Oh, we're going down a rabbit hole. There's other good things here, but we'll just keep it small. 28 millimeter is an extremely popular scale, but I don't think it is for DBA. Now, some people may argue with me, but you've got to play in the scale that the people in your area play. Like when I started playing, everybody played in 15. So if I wanted to be the contrarian that wanted to do 10 millimeter, guess what? I'd be probably supplying figures for both sides because nobody was doing 10 millimeter. I know some people do them in 6 and 10 and 15s.
Cool.
Some people do plastics. They use those Zvezda figures in 20 millimeter scale. Well, 1/72. Okay. And I think New Line Design makes stuff in 20 millimeter. I love 20 millimeter, but for World War II, not for Ancients. So Ancients, I've always done 15s because that's what people did. If everybody played 28s and that's all there was, I would have had to just say, well, I'll do them in 28s or just I'm not going to do it in that scale. I don't have anything in 28 millimeter scale.
I did.
Did you?
At one time.
At one time, okay. Like 40K stuff and.
No, medieval Tactica. I had the.
Oh, so you guys did Tactica in both scales?
Well, it just had the two armies. I had the Crusaders and the Saracens. That was it.
That was just a fluke.
Yeah, because I guess sort of like, hey, I'm going to do this in the 28s,
Right.
And I did it. And they're pretty damn heavy carrying around.
They're heavy.
And I was kind of like, I don't think so. So I mean, we played a few games with them, and then I just like,
I think it might just be my perception, but I think that when you have a stand of Saloy, for instance, that has two 28 millimeter figures on it, or you have a stand of Saloy 15 millimeter scale with two figures on it, it looks more barren with the larger figures. I don't know if that makes any sense. Maybe it's just my perception because I'm used to seeing the 15s, but
it does to me because I think it's really cool to do 6 millimeter and put a lot of dudes on the base. Like in that.
Did I ever show you the pictures of one guy actually carved his own figures out of like 2 millimeter? They were like blobs, and he just kind of like he didn't use them out of green. I think he used green stuff or something like that. So he had like Romans in a Roman type formation, and he has barbarians kind of in a rough form. He basically did like almost like a glob. Okay, and then he would detail that glob and then paint it so it looks like at a distance. So you could, it made no difference in the game.
Right.
I mean, but
right.
you could tell that these guys were loose and the other guys were the other way. That's pretty cool.
Panned out version, like a drone flying over the battlefield and like, oh look at.
Is that because you have bad vision or what?
Well, that too maybe.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's cooler that way.
Okay.
I enjoy the look, like you're visually over it.
You've always wanted to fly there, Icarus, haven't you?
Yes.
Stay away from the sun.
Yeah.
I've never painted. I painted a squad of Imperial Guard, which is funny because in Warhammer 40K, the Imperial Guard are like almost like conscripts. I think, right? They're like really lower guys. They're the guard. I'm like, oh, send in the guard. Oh, don't do that. Those guys.
It's not that kind of guard.
It's not that kind of guard. Okay. So I fell for the White Dwarf propaganda. Mm-hmm. I saw one of the magazines. I worked at a hobby store. I don't know if it was at that time or just before, but I loved how they looked, and I picked them up. They were made of metal because I don't like really plastic figures. I don't. I'll paint them, but I like the heft. Mm-hmm. Now, what I will say about the plastic figures is that you drop them on the floor and they're not going to crush themselves. But I've always painted white metal figures. Mm-hmm. They were white metal, obviously with their plastic cool stands, and everything. And and I sold them. I've never played 40K ever. I've never played Warhammer. I've never played any of that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Have you?
Lots of it.
With painted figures?
Yeah.
You played Warhammer stuff with people that actually painted their figures.
Luckily, back up in Illinois, that those guys didn't. Those guys painted.
Well, if you're not going to paint figures, it makes sense to buy figures that are really cheap. I mean, why spend $25 on a ton of figures, but you know, and then not pay them? Doesn't make any sense to me. But okay, but it might be because there's some people that paint. There's some people that paint 28mm figures that are like, I'm not going to say museum quality because stuff in museums isn't that good. I'll be honest with you. But they're really, really good, and maybe it's intimidating. I'm not intimidated by seeing other people paint things that are really well.
I'm sorry.
What?
Because I've been to England and the museums, and their dioramas, most of them are not. I mean, like your stuff is like beautiful, and I've seen. There's a few people.
Don't be knocking England, because the museum's here too.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of this stuff is. Is just, well, you know what? I actually found something out, okay? If you want a good laugh, go to like our modern art museum. But I found out why that is. Because a lot of the stuff is donation. So if you have a Rembrandt, you're going to donate a freaking Rembrandt. Well, until you die and your freaking family donates it. But, you keep the really nice stuff, but stuff that, you don't want, it's donate. It's the same thing. They're just working off of donations, So, yeah. But anyhow, okay, well, there's that.
For the next.
Okay, and then he saw, I've seen your World War II Russians. What are your plans and respects to use them for wargaming? Well, so I haven't played World War II skirmish in about 20 years. So my goal for 2021 is to remember how to play the rules again. Okay, and I got to do some practice games with myself. That's very difficult to do with a limited amount of alone time that I've had, because usually like the girls would go somewhere. It's not a lot of fun to play war games by yourself.
Are you going to keep track of those games?
Yes.
Me against me. Myself.
I won again. It's another draw.
Oh, I hate it when that guy beats me.
No, so DDA I think is a good game. The World War II I like to play, it builds a good narrative, okay? It builds a good, movie. And it's focused, it's very man-to-man focused. So you're not going to see me play bolt action or any of that World War II-ish type stuff. It's very tread head, count rivets, and anal retentive. It's like you roll to see where you throw a grenade, okay, and you keep track of how many grenades the guy has. And you throw and you roll to see where it lands. And sometimes it may not land where you want it to land, and then it lands in a better, more exciting place with something that blows up. It builds a fun narrative, So, but it is extremely time consuming. But when we used to play it, we didn't really have a dedicated place to play it at. Like, we could just leave it set up here now if we needed to. But I've got to familiarize how to get the game to flow smooth so that these other guys don't go, I don't want to play Tony's rules anymore because they take forever and they don't run smooth and he doesn't really know what he's doing. So I have to give them proper
motivation.
No, I have to do them justice by learning how to play them on my own. Okay, I don't know if that makes any sense, but anyhow. So right now I'm just painting them to I want to do some weathering. You can't really do weathering with my figures, so that's just the reason I'm kind of doing it. So I was at some point I want to do these vehicles, but I didn't want to take a whole year off and not paint any DBA armies to do the vehicles. So I think because the vehicles take so many different steps, okay, prime it. Okay, now what? We gotta wait for it to dry. Okay, so we just watch TV? No, you work on 15s. Right? And then a little while later, that's dry. Okay, paint the base color. That's got to dry. Give it a gloss coat. Put the decals. Each one of them is do this, stop, and then wait a little bit. When I'm painting 15mm figures, except for a few particular times, like when I'm doing the sealant, when I'm doing the priming, I'm going one color right into another. I'm not waiting for it to dry. It's acrylics, and I paint pretty thin. And I'm used to that. So the fact that you can work on it for 30 minutes and then you have to wait for 30. What is that? Well, the way to get around it is work them in between other things. So, and there's some folks that watch this that aren't interested in these ancient and medieval stuff like I was. Before 2004, I couldn't care less about Romans and ancient stuff. So okay. Okay, Rick has a crazy freaking question. Rick Keppen has a large following on his site. He does all kinds of war games. And he says, I cannot believe I missed this. Well, I didn't announce it. I can believe it. And that's one thing I'm going to go ahead and bring up. The reason we can't really announce it is normally we try to do these Q&As at this, and the reason we can't announce what we're going to do, okay? Like let's say we're going to do a live game, we can't really announce, hey, we're going to play Napoleonic game, Battle of Leipzig and DBN on Tuesday night starting at 8 o'clock, because we don't know who, okay. He's going to be here, and I'm going to, well, if I'm not here, there's no filming, because, you know, hey, when are you going to take up the mantle and do some filming?
It's not happening.
Typical American right here.
There you go.
Okay, so anyhow, so we don't know until the last minute. We don't know until the last minute if who's going to show up. We've got 3 or 4 people that, 2 people that can't decide until the last minute. Like even the last day, you know. So it's unfair to say, hey, we're going to do a series of battles with the Hungarians, and then too many people show up and we do something else. Like, oh, guess what? We're doing loop wars instead, and then we have to explain why we did something different. I ain't explaining shit. You know, there's just too many variables. Okay, it's just very difficult to try to narrow all that down. So we need better players here that can plan a little bit better. I got to plan at work all the time. So okay, so back to Rick's question. So he has a suggestion for us to do in a battle, a DBA battle. Choose a scenario. This lasts for an entire game. Oh, so here's 2 scenarios that he has.
Okay.
So in other words, we play some kind of a matchup. Like let's say we're doing, say Romans and Carthaginians, everybody's favorite, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Scenario 1, you get to pick the order of combat for both player turns all game long. However, you're limited to only 1 or 2 pips per turn. Flip a coin. Heads, 1 pip. Tails, 2 pips. Well, what if you want to do 2 pips on heads? So 50-50. You're going to get 1 pip or 2, but that person that gets to pick the order of the combats that happen every game. It's kind of interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
Right? We like things that you can't control. So,
yeah.
You know, we're not going to be like, I don't want to play that because... Yeah. Now, I'm not going to score it because it's not a standard... Well, it's not standard rules. I don't... You know, you can't compare apples and oranges, but we'll still play it. It sounds fun.
Yeah.
Or scenario 2. I'll take what's behind door number 2. Well, hold on a second. You may not want that. It might be a goat. Your opponent chooses the order of all combats for the whole game on both turns. However, on your turn, you're guaranteed 5 to 6 pips. 5 or 6 pips.
The opposite.
Yeah. That would be good with, like, say, the Mongols.
That would be interesting. They might be very competitive then.
Well, there's a way you can get around that I've already figured out.
But they need the pips.
Yeah, if you just say, well, I'm not going to pick the order they go in, well, I'm only going to engage in things that are really in my favor and not all the way across.
Yeah.
You know, so then it's not like you can get screwed by getting double whammied, but it's worth giving it a shot. It's definitely thinking outside the box.
Interesting with the Mongols.
And that's the kind of stuff that chaos would happen. I mean, you know.
I like that.
In Armadi, if I remember correctly, I've only played Armadi a couple times, you get to pick what order you move left or right, and then you have to go down in the same order. So you can't pick everything. I kind of like it. Some people don't like chaos. I welcome it. As long as you have to deal with the chaos as well.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm a sadist and I only want to be the one that has the chaos and the other guy's got, you know, no problems.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's everybody except our gold star question person.
Ooh.
That would be Mr. Patty Green.
Oh,
Drink. Hey, aye.
Patty.
And he has 25 questions. And they're not all DBA related, but they're some of these. So I'm going to answer. I've read them vaguely. I haven't really thought about what I was going to answer. And you may have to answer it first, or I may have to answer it first. But I get to decide.
Do I go like, ooh, ooh, ooh?
No, I get to decide. I get to decide.
Oh, well,
because I'm a control
coin
freak.
if it's first
I'm drinking a stiffer drink, so I get to decide.
I've got a quarter in my pocket.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, Patty. Oh, by the way, he says, here's 25 totally random quick-fire questions. Well, I'm not going to ask him quick-fire.
What's your favorite color? Oh, green.
Green!
Oh, wait,
That's blue and yellow! Win!
We'll just go...
Okay. What's your favorite board game other than DBA? You. Board game.
Star Trek Ascendancy.
What is it?
Star Trek Ascendancy.
Okay, this is. Oh, here it
That's
is.
just that's.
Holy crap!
Yeah,
this thing's
that's
heavy.
because I got all kinds of. I got
Okay.
all the expansions. Star
Okay.
Trek Ascendancy.
You guys love this.
Oh,
I don't mind it.
because it's never the same game.
I don't mind.
That's like the board game of DBA. It's never the same game.
Is it better than DBA?
Yeah, I like it a lot. I like it a lot.
Is it better than DBA? It's not better than DBA. You can't paint that stuff. And you can paint it.
I don't have to paint it.
It's all right. I mean, the problem with that game is, if you guys have played it, you know what I'm talking about. The game's all about what you're going to find on the planets. And he's right. Every game's different.
Every game.
The problem is the middle part of the game is like really, really fast. Like you're halfway in the game and you're like, well, let me enjoy and do. No. It's like you got to do this or they're going to win. Or I guess they do that otherwise, so it's not a 12-hour game.
Yeah.
That's my only gripe with the game, really, is that you don't get to enjoy.
It ramps up. It starts.
It
slow,
ramps up too
and
fast.
It ramps up.
It ramps up way too fast.
Boom.
It ramps up way too fast. But it's one of those games that I've mentioned this before. And people think I'm crazy because I'm really not that competitive. I mean, I like to keep track of my stats just because, okay?
Yeah,
just because I don't want to.
It's not undefeated in that.
I'm not undefeated in that. No.
You never won a game.
Was I the first person to win with the Federation though?
No.
No.
We've had.
I'm not good at anything on that game. No, but that's a game that just playing it is fun. Like seeing what you encounter and stuff like that. You know, you can not even attack other people and it's fun. Well, I don't have to attack other people.
Yeah,
I have a good time.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Okay. My favorite board
What's your
game
favorite board game?
that I play now. God, I don't know. I don't know. I don't really play any board, and I don't have a problem with board games.
History of the World.
Nah, History of the World's not my favorite. It's not even close to being my favorite.
Junta!
Definitely not my favorite.
If you get the right 7
And it's
people,
not-
that is a good game. If you get the right 7 people.
It's not. You know what was more fun? Napoleon in Europe when the freaking when the Austrians gang raped the world. I mean, it was like the French came after me, I knocked them down, and then the Prussians backstabbed me, killed them, and then the Russians attacked me, and then they got me, but then I came back and got them again. And it's like Austria über alles.
We're getting knocked down. He got up
Yeah.
again.
Okay.
You're gonna keep them down.
The what do you have here? That
Well, I think that.
my problem with board games. My problem with board games isn't that they're board games because there's
What
lots
about
of
Maneuver? Did you like?
Maneuver's good, but I'm no good at it because I enjoy just playing the game.
Yeah.
Maneuver's an excellent game.
Yeah.
The problem with board games now is I don't want to spend an hour setting it up. And it's not that there's nothing to paint because I want games that look nice. Most board games look nice, except Catan. I'm not playing Catan. It looks horrible. Okay, and the one my buddy used to love to play, 1830. I hated 1830. But I did lots of squad leader and stuff like that. But board games, I think, are better on computer because you can set them up immediately. You can save. You're still playing a board game. It still looks nice. I've played. Lock and Load. Lock and Load Tactical on the computer, and even though I think the multiplayer still isn't fixed after being out for a year, but it's a beautiful looking game, and it doesn't allow you to play the rules wrong. You don't have to know the rules. You can't play them wrong, assuming the game's programmed correctly. You know what? You know what game I love? The one we played the other day. That Neil brought. Wallenstein. Wallenstein is a great freaking game, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
I didn't even win. I had a great time.
Yep.
There's all those little,
Yeah. Yep.
all those little blocks that come in and out. It's a great game.
Star Trek is my favorite.
Nah, it's got nothing to on Wallenstein.
So we'll saw Wallenstein is yours.
Yeah, that's what we'll go with. So.
There you go.
Okay.
One
That was a
down,
long-winded
24
answer.
minutes
I
ago.
told you it was going to be 4 hours long. I give you plenty of answers. We're going to spend another 4 hours going through the questions. I don't know. Last time there weren't that many people that asked that many questions. So, okay, easy answer for this one. Number 2, cats or dogs?
Oh, dogs.
You prefer to eat dog?
Oh, eat? Oh! Well, maybe. I mean, you get more for your money then.
I'm guessing it's for pets.
Okay.
Which one?
I'm sticking with dog.
You dogs?
Yeah.
Neither for me. I don't do pets.
I mean, I don't have neither right now. I got chicken right now.
You
I
got
can eat
chickens,
them. Yeah.
Oh, you eat that?
Oh, yeah. I'll eat
Okay,
chicken.
well, it's what point do you draw the line?
Depends how bad you're off.
You grew up with a dog, though, right?
Yeah.
You had a farm and you had a dog.
exactly.
I didn't grow up with any animals, so I have no interest in it.
Yep.
You know.
We had cats, but I mean, it's like, hey, you want to eat? Go kill a mouse.
Okay, Tiger King.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm not a pet person. We had fish when I was little, and then you'd end up getting a couple of those snails to kind of clean the thing, and then you find out one of them was pregnant, and then the next thing you have a fish tank full of snails. I mean, literally like 600 of them.
Start eating snail.
Yeah.
Escargot.
Okay, Froggo. The French have good food, but that's not one of them.
Grilling
Okay.
it is. Woo.
Who?
Grilling. Escargot. Oh,
Everybody says, "Oh, it's the butter." They just friggin' eat butter.
just grill it.
No.
Grill anything.
No.
Anything grilled is good.
I'm gonna have to explain. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to explain number 3 to you. This is 3 of 25, folks. What's your guilty pleasure?
Guilty pleasure.
You know what that means?
Something that I shouldn't be doing that I do.
Right. Like let's say for instance, this is the first thing I think of because he has an award for it. Let's say on the weekends, 3 o'clock in the morning, he likes watching My Little Pony. Okay. No, there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
What's your guilty pleasure? Take your time because I don't know what mine is. I'm sure I have one.
I mean, I guess could you? I mean, because. So I guess if you're guilty of something, then.
And I'm not talking about girl on girl porn or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like stuff that
I guess.
I would say for you it would be, from what I know from you, maybe watching zombie movies.
Oh yeah.
You like zombie
Oh
movies.
yeah.
But lots of people
As long
watch.
as they're good, a good storyline.
Really? How many is that? The one that you showed me.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's good. So I'm always trying to find that other zombie movie, and it's just not out there. That's it.
I don't know that I have one, but I'm sure I do. Probably surfing figures. That's probably the thing. Like, what do you waste the most time on that's probably worthless? Well, I wouldn't call it worthless, but I love searching for figures and figuring out what army can make them and what figures and stuff. I mean, I love doing that. I don't watch any cartoons. I hardly watch any television or movies. I like making decisions, so I would rather play a game on the computer than I would just sit there in front of watching an action movie. Okay, here we go. Number 4, Napoleon, Hannibal, or Alexander?
Oh, Napoleon.
Really?
Yep.
What am I going to say?
Hannibal.
Pyrrhus.
Oh, Paris. You like Paris?
I always liked Pyrrhus. He was cool.
But he wasn't on there, was he?
That's right, he wasn't. But this is my freaking answer.
Yeah.
Booze is my guilty pleasure, Tony. That's what Marty says.
Yeah.
I only drink here. You know what? I'm gonna talk about booze. I don't know anyone that gets angry when they drink.
I do. But,
do you?
Yeah, but they don't drink now.
I behave better when I drink. I really do.
I loosen up.
If I could drink at work, everybody wouldn't hate me. Oh well. Sucks to be them. Napoleon, Hannibal, or Alexander? I would have to say Alexander if I have to pick one of those three. Napoleon, I don't really like the period. Sorry, I don't like the period. Hannibal, come on, he's a Carthaginian. Those guys sacrificed their own children. It's Roman propaganda. well, okay, whatever. Well, they're the ones that won. Well, they shouldn't have let the freaking Romans win.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yes, Hannibal was a fucking genius, but Alexander, even though he was a, you know, the revisionist stuff. Oh, he's like as bad as Hitler. Oh, come on.
Oh man.
Number 5. You go first. What's your favorite movie of all time?
Favorite?
And I don't know the answer to this. I know it was from the 80s, probably, because you're my age.
Well, but
no?
With the new stuff now, man.
Oh, here we go. Convert.
Yeah. Something I can. So for me, it's like something that I come across and I'll watch it every time, even though I've seen it 100 times. I say Band of Brothers.
That's a series.
Okay, then.
Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan.
Okay. What's my favorite movie?
You tell us.
And saw it in the movie theater, which is unusual. I don't see that many things in the movie theater. Certainly not at that age. Raiders of the Lost Ark, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
It's good.
Except for that freaking RPG that he had. They just had to eliminate that RPG, put something in there, and the movie would have been perfect. Somewhat perfect.
Why couldn't he just?
Well, it would have been more accurate. Yeah, it would have been more. You know, it would have been more accurate. But you know.
Oh, a sticky bomb. I'm gonna roll up there.
Number 6, window or aisle. So when you all go on a plane, you want to sit at the window or the aisle.
I like sitting.
Let's assume that you're by yourself.
Oh, then,
okay. Because if you're with your family, the daughter gets the window. I mean,
exactly.
you know, that's a no-brainer.
That's our problem. I like sitting at the window, but if we go somewhere,
okay. So you're flying by yourself to go visit one of your other girlfriends.
I go to the window.
And you want the window. I want the aisle. I want the aisle unless, and you know what I won't tolerate? That person that as soon as you take off, like I don't like flying. Do you like flying?
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Okay. You don't dislike any of the process of flying? Like
well,
I don't.
Right now I do.
Oh yeah, you don't want to do that. Well, I haven't had to fly during that, but I don't care about the terrorists. The terrorists don't scare me. If they scare you, they win, right?
I think the last terrorist ever tried to do that got his ass whooped. So I think they know.
Well, that's your chance of That's your chance of killing somebody in cold blood.
It's all on.
Okay, I'm scared of the plane, so I went on a flight that went into Mexico City when I was a kid. And there was a lightning storm, and and I'm scarred. I'm scarred about the actual plane. I don't like turbulence. Now, I don't get airsick. I don't get motion sickness. I look out the window because it's freaking cool, but it's very surreal. It's like, this is like a toy set. It's like this isn't really happening.
It's like you're soaring over the battlefield.
So I like the window because you get to see all that. So, but I prefer the aisle because you have more room. And if you have to go to the bathroom, you're like, excuse me. And I swear, planes have gotten smaller and I've gotten bigger. So it's like a bad combination. It's like difficult to try to get around people.
And both have.
But with that said, this is my long-winded way going around saying that I don't like to fly. I do like to look out the window. And you don't get a chance to look at that. Well, you do more now with Google Earth, but before you take off, you're sitting next to somebody and they're on the window and they want to close the blind. I'm like, dude, like if I'm gonna die because the freaking steel bird's gonna fall out of the air, I at least want to see what's happening, not just be like, But that's where I have to drink for this to stay, calm or whatever. No, I still calm, I just lose 10 pounds of sweat on my hands. Anyhow, aisle for me, window for you.
Yep.
Okay. Here is a controversial freaking question, okay? It didn't used to be a controversial question, and you'll know...
What's your favorite color?
That's not controversial at all, okay? That's not controversial at all. This is, number 7 is a controversial question. It didn't used to be 20 years ago, 30 years ago, but it is now. What is your favorite?
Who's going to answer this first?
You're answering it first.
Set me up.
What is the best tank of World War II? Told you it was controversial.
Fighting-wise, production-wise.
There's the question. I answered the question. What was the best tank of World War II? Are you a World War II nut? Not like me.
Not like you.
No, I'm ridiculous.
I know about it. I mean, again,
that's all we used to game was World War II. Great question. KV2 hands down.
Yeah.
Not if you're one of the guys inside that tank, okay?
Oh, God.
If you're in a Czech 38 driving on Leningrad and that Joker shows up, oh yeah, that's a good tank.
Panzer IV.
Why?
Because it was used on all the fronts, had to deal with all the different other tanks. It was kind of...
Only a racist would pick a Panzer IV.
I'd say the Panzer IV. It's more reliable.
So 30
Didn't
years
break down
ago,
much.
30 years ago, most people would say the Panther.
Yeah, but they broke down.
It broke down all the time.
Yeah.
It broke down all the time.
You gotta have some... Okay, if you think the Panther's so reliable and you're in the tank crew and it breaks down, how reliable are you now?
Yeah. Read about how it did at Kursk.
Yeah. I think we're gonna get out now.
Panther had 88 millimeter gun and sloped armor. No, that was a Jag Panther. The Panther has a 70 caliber 75 millimeter gun.
Yeah. I'm talking think of the Panzer IV was used in all theaters of war.
So you know the Panzer IV, I found this out recently.
It's a true tested.
Well, the Panzer III was built as a main battle tank.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Panzer IV was actually some kind of an artillery tractor, like the whole part. They got thrown into.
But the 3 got kind of dumbed down to recon, didn't it? Because
No.
it couldn't really do
No,
much
the 2
against the
did.
Russians.
The 2 did.
It? Yeah, well, yeah.
No, the 3 was a main battle tank until
Even on the Russian front. Oh, the T-34s
through
and
43.
stuff?
Yeah,
Woo.
it was. Yeah,
I'd be like, hey, can I get a replacement for the full?
Well, you know the 50 cal the 60 caliber 50 millimeter gun. So the long gun that was on the Panzer III in mid 42, it was fine. You know, it wasn't as good as when it faced say a Sherman at the same time.
Yeah.
The Sherman could penetrate more, but the long 50 could go into the Sherman, but the Sherman had a much better HE.
Right.
So the 50 millimeter HE wasn't that great. What are you going to say? What did you say? Which one did you say?
I said Panzer IV.
The Panzer
Just
IV?
Panzer IV. Because there's all theaters.
Okay,
and-
so for as far as crew efficiency, it was I would definitely think that it would be a U.S. tank or a Commonwealth tank if they use the same one, or a German tank. They definitely now you got to have the 3-man turret. The 3-man turret was the way to go. Okay, and the fact that most German tanks had radios so they could communicate with each other, that was good. Now, that's the I like doing 1941 and 42 Germans because during that time period, generally nuts and bolts, millimeter of thickness of stuff, their tanks weren't better, but it was better for the crew. So you're talking about, the capabilities of the crew operating as opposed to, just the raw stats. Like when you're playing games and stuff like that, you're like, oh, well, the T-34s are faster and their gun is decent. For 1942, the T-34 can go through the 76 millimeter gun on a T-34 is plenty good to go through anything the Germans have in Barbarossa. I mean, it's not an issue.
Right.
Okay. But one thing to consider is the T-34, for instance, has a 2-man turret. Okay. So the commander has to command the tank, and be the gunner, and the loader is just loading there. They don't have separate hatches. They rarely have a radio. Only like the company commander or the platoon commander would have a radio. And one thing that isn't normally that people don't normally consider that I didn't really put everything together until recently is it has sloped armor, right? So you get more oomph for the millimeter thickness, okay, with the sloped armor. However, by sloping the armor, you restrict the size of the fighting compartment. So you've got, just think about it. If you're in a room in your house that's 10 by 10, you have 100 square feet of space to be in. If you tilt the walls of that building in at 60 or 45 degrees, now your room's a lot smaller. I mean, you can fit some things in there, but you can't really operate in that. And that was kind of the problem with the sloped armor. That's not saying the T-34s were bad. I'm just saying, from a standpoint of crew fighting. So from crew fighting, definitely a late war Commonwealth tank or a U.S. tank or a German tank. Yeah, we're not talking Panzer IIs.
Right.
Okay, we're not talking Panzer IIs.
If you
would
want-
definitely be the best from that standpoint.
If you don't like the answer, then you should have been more specific on the question.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a million answers for
Because
that. Okay.
there's industrial, there's
30 years ago, most people would say, and you would look in
working.
books. You look at a book that would have like tanks of World War. You'd look tanks of World War II, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when it came to Panther, it says considered the best tank of World War II. Well, they broke down all the freaking time.
Yeah.
Okay, like let's say they didn't break down. Let's say they didn't break down all the time. Okay, perfect example. Okay.
Well, hey, how about just put it in nowadays? I get this car, it's really nice, but it always freaking breaks down. It pisses me off.
How many times you want to ride
A
it?
to B?
Well, let's say the Panther didn't break down. Let's say they got that out of control.
Oh,
What's the other problem? By the time they came out, the Allies had air supremacy.
Yeah.
So you had to travel at night, and you couldn't go in.
Yeah. Be more specific if you don't like the answer. Okay.
What's the best tank of World War II? I don't know.
I just say Panzer IV.
I don't know. People like to gripe on the Sherman. The Sherman is not attractive. Okay, let's be honest with you. The Sherman is not a pretty tank. Now you can make them look cool because you can give them a nickname. You can give them, so I'm actually looking forward to doing my Sherman so they can do all that kind of stuff. And you can put all kinds of accoutrements and their packs and underwear and all kinds of things on the outside, to kind of give them personality. They're not a sexy looking tank, but they produced a shitload of them.
Yep.
They didn't break down.
They come under the industrial thing.
Most of them didn't have a really cool camouflage scheme. That's why if you look at like model tanks, they make a crap ton of German stuff. Why? Because, well, it's not that everybody that's making models is a freaking neo-Nazi or want the Fourth Reich to come back. It's just their tanks were cool looking, and they were in every theater, and many of them looked. I think wicked is the correct way. Like one of my favorite planes. I know this was not a plane question, but you get a freebie. One of my favorite German plane. Two favorite German planes, but as a kid was the Stuka because it looked wicked. Now I don't want to be on the receiving end of one. Okay, and yes, they suck. Fill in the blank when they get intercepted by anything that's even remotely a fighter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they look cool with the gull wing and the hard sides and that
and
kind
they
of
sound
stuff.
cool with the siren.
Yeah. So it's a cool plane. The same thing.
Yeah.
But I always liked the way a Panther looked. Because it was sleek looking. But yeah. What was the best tank of World War II? I'm not going to answer that because there's not a.
Was it specific?
Well, there wasn't a definitive question. There's lots of vehicles that I like to build models of them and stuff, But what was the best one? I don't know. It just depends,
Be more specific if you want a specific answer.
Yeah. What's your favorite tank? That's different. Actually, I don't think I have a favorite. There's so many. Like for instance, I love like British tanks. I love Crusaders. I love the way Crusaders look, but they broke down all the time. And they didn't have a good, unless you're talking about a 3-inch one, a 3-inch gun, they didn't have any HE capability. So they weren't something that was good all around, but I like the way they look. I like the camouflage schemes
not
they
the
painted
way it
in.
operates.
Yeah, Matildas. Who doesn't like Matildas? I've never said to everybody, I hate Matildas. No,
I like
Matildas are cool.
Matilda. Cool name.
Is it? Kind of homely, but...
I guess. Let's move on.
Okay. All right.
We have a long ways to go.
Well, I'm going to answer this question 8 for him. What makes you laugh no matter what?
Oh,
everything, okay? This guy's always freaking happy. It's like you got a cockroach up your ass tickling you all the time. Almost. Is that the case? Drake! You're always laughing. What makes you laugh the most? I know exactly what makes me laugh the most.
Good joke.
Anything that involves physical comedy, that involves a dummy. Okay, so like the Benny Hill stuff where they would throw the dummy off the hill and off a cliff, and he would stand up and do that. Anything that involves physical comedy, like in a sitcom or something like that, I love that stuff.
Did you ever watch Red Green?
No.
This is a Wisconsin deal.
No.
But they use dummies too.
Wait a second. Isn't that show that...
They use duct tape for everything.
Isn't that the...
Everything.
Yeah. No. There's some weird people in Wisconsin.
Yes, Wisconsin.
There's some weird white people in Wisconsin.
But I'm from Illinois.
Okay, so yeah, physical comedy for me.
Next.
I already know your answer. Summer or winter?
Oh, summer.
Winter! Damn it! Winter's coming.
Mm-mm.
And our winter here is like how it should be. But
Well, winter here is cool.
But I've looked at pictures. Cool. Okay, just today, a couple of things I subscribed on YouTube because it's getting ready. It's getting ready for us to turn our lease in.
See,
so
there
we're
you
looking
go
at
again.
vehicles.
It's like winter where?
No,
Florida
I'm going to tell you.
Or up north?
I'm going to tell you this everywhere for me because I looked at a video of they did some kind of they compared like a Jeep Sahara, a Wrangler Sahara version, and like a Toyota 4Runner or something like that. I'm not going to buy either one of those two. But I watched the video and it showed them like towing capacity. And they're in some place like Minnesota or something like that that's just covered in white
stuff.
White everywhere.
Ah.
And it's beautiful. It's absolutely awe-inspiring beautiful for somebody who's always lived in Florida. I think it's gorgeous.
Up in it, so it was cool when I grew up, but it's not cool anymore.
Okay. Winter.
Next.
I like free air conditioning. I like it when I wake up in the house and it's 53 degrees inside the house, and I don't turn on the heater. So, okay. This is one I don't have an answer to this because this one does not apply to me. Okay. Number 10. I don't know if this applies to you. You haven't brought it up. We should come back to this one, make you guys like percolate, right? Are you percolating again? What are your favorite song lyrics? Let me answer it first. I don't know because I don't really listen to song lyrics. Like, I prefer instrumental stuff because then the song can be about whatever you want. Okay? I don't care about a life lesson from some druggie I like rock and roll stuff. I like 80s music. I like 70s music. I'm a rock and roll kind of guy. Okay?
Uh-huh.
I didn't even like the grunge stuff that much. Okay? So, but these guys aren't my heroes. I just like the sound of the music. Like I like Van Halen, but I'm not trashing hotel rooms or ODing on stuff. Or being wild. So I don't care what the song's about. Yes, I know them, and sometimes you'll hear them and you'll like sing in your head and what it is, but I don't really like put a connection on what the song's really about. I don't know if that makes any sense. So yeah. But I don't like poetry either, so maybe that's why.
So I'm a big Journey fan.
Yeah. But do you like them because of their lyrics?
Yeah, some of their stuff is kind of catchy.
Really?
Yeah, for me.
Is it like a life lesson?
Yeah. One or two.
No. Lots of songs of the music that I like to listen to, and I'm not going to say I'm holier than thou, but there's things I don't do. Like I don't cheat on my wife or cheat on my girlfriend that I've ever had. And a lot of songs are about cheating. Okay, so I don't understand that. So I can't really relate to that.
Uh-huh.
So I don't really listen to lyrics, and I don't hear well. So which explains why I talk so freaking loud.
What?
Exactly. No, I can't hear well. What?
What?
Deaf man says what?
Yeah. Next.
Okay. Sorry, we didn't get a lot of movement on 10. So. Okay. Let's see. We got any comments on that?
There's a lot of comments, I think.
Okay.
No, I'm not.
We'll have to come back to it.
Okay.
Easy one. You'll go. I'm not even going to answer this one. What's your favorite DBA period? Book 1, 2, 3, or 4 years? Because I don't really know.
3.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why?
There's a lot of cool armies. I like because that's kind of like if you go early, there's not too many knights. You get a lot of blades, but you don't get that combination of knights and blades, which I like.
Your favorite is 3.
Yep.
What's your second favorite?
Probably 4.
What's your third favorite?
Probably 2.
So you don't like book 1 either?
Yeah, because it's hard in that time period.
I like playing the armies.
Life is hard and...
What? Okay. All right. So what's my favorite period?
4.
What's my second favorite?
3.
Then?
2.
Yeah, exactly. I could go either way between 3 and 4. There's lots of cool Asian armies in 3. You know.
Yep.
So I like 3 as well. I like. The only reason I like 4 more is because there's more heraldry and stuff to paint.
Mm.
But the book 3 armies are just as cool. But there's no like personal arms and stuff like that.
Yep.
But they still have flags and stuff like that. So.
Yep. Next.
Oh, we already answered this. You go first. What is your most played music?
Yeah, Journey.
Journey, that's what you like?
Yep.
I
Even
mean,
my kids all know that. Even my youngest.
That's
She's
your
even
most...
she's even the one who'll be like, "Hey, Dad, can we listen to music?"
Well, my daughter. So I like 70s, 80s, mostly stuff. It's mostly 70s or 80s. There's some stuff after that I like, but for the most part, that's So I had one of the people I first started gaming with was a guy that was significantly older than me. Maybe he was 15. He's 15 to 20 years older than me. And he once said something very wise, that he said, most people like the music that was popular or was around when they were going through puberty. And I would agree with him.
Wow.
I think that's... He finally said one wise thing. That was it. I mean, there's exceptions. There's some modern stuff that I like, but for the most part,
Yeah. Wow.
Right?
Yeah. Sounds good.
I like all 80s. So I've got a couple playlists on Apple Music. One of them is what's it called? Maybe I just call it 70s and 80s rock. Not everything in there, because there's lots of stuff during that period that I do not care for. Okay, but I've got a playlist for that, and then I've got my Tony's Big 80s. So you've got all the the stuff from the 80s. It's not necessarily say Van Halen. Like I won't have my Van Halen in the 80s, because there's other stuff that could be in that period. Okay,
right.
But my daughter I'll play something out of it, and she'll be like, next thing you know, she'll like, what are you doing playing Hall & Oates? My daughter's 15 years old, she's playing Hall & Oates. Well, because that's on she'll catch something, but she's susceptible to like all kinds of different things. Okay. 13, what's the best thing that happened to you recently?
Well, I didn't win the lottery. So
Well, I bought this.
I didn't win the lottery, so that's...
What's recently?
I got this government check. No. I didn't do shit, and I got $1,400. No, I don't know.
Did you?
Wait, I paid for that $1,400. Oh, well.
We'll say recently is in 2021. What's the best thing that's happened to you in 2021?
Well, it hasn't been that much going on yet.
Maybe not for you.
Oh.
No? Nothing's happened to you.
Back.
How about in 2020? Ever since the pandemic,
Yeah.
what's the best thing happened since the
Pandemic was the
pandemic?
best thing. No.
I tell you what,
Financially, it was.
our company's freaking busy as shit.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys that are out of work and stuff,
sad, That's sad. It's in a way, it's sad. Even though this stupid thing went on, and it's stupid, but yet for both our companies, it's been amazing.
Well, you work at a grocery store, and
yeah, but everybody's got to eat.
everybody's got to eat.
We can't go anywhere.
And some
so
people,
we got to go buy food and go home.
Some people are eating more than they normally are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Just like some of us are drinking more than we ever have.
Exactly.
So anyhow, and I'm working in a construction-related field, and it's too busy.
And I still got 10 fingers, so I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
You still have 10 fingers? That's the best thing that happened to you. You just realized you just had 10 fingers.
Exactly.
Have another beer.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really complain.
There you go.
It's frustrating because I'm so busy, but that's okay. Like the last 2 days have gone by like that.
So put it this way, because like the company I work for now, there is no overtime. Even though things are good, there's no overtime whatsoever. So
Which makes no sense to me as an outsider because your company's basically, he works at a grocery store. I'm not going to say who it is, but if you know that we live in Florida, it's kind of a monopoly in this town. And there's nothing wrong with that store. It's a nice store. But you would think, oh, when they have a monopoly, they'll be able to pay their employees more, right? Because they got no competition. Well, they don't have to lower prices for anything.
The more money, but yeah, there's like, but they're counting beans like
they've gotten stingier.
Yes,
which makes no sense. That makes no sense.
Yep.
But what do I know? I only took one economics class and aced it. So I'm just looking at it from one vantage point.
Yeah, there you
go. What's the best thing that happened? I finished my Hungarians. I don't got to look at those sons of bitches anymore.
There you go. Next.
If you answer this one wrong, I'm going to hit you over the head with that beer bottle. Number 14.
Me or you?
You're answering it first. Everybody already knows what my answer is going to be to this. I think I know what your answer is. Star Trek or Star Wars?
Oh, Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he didn't name his son Jean-Luc.
Luke, I am your father. See? Luke, I am your
I'll be
father.
honest with you. I don't like Star Trek. I don't like the Star Trek universe. Okay? I didn't grow up with the old show. If the show was more like combat with the vessels, yeah, I could get into it. I mean, I like naval battles, I could get into that.
Deep Space Nine.
But it's like they show up on a planet. I don't like the uniforms they wear. They have shitty looking weapons.
Because red is a definitely a giveaway.
No, they
don't
just
wear red.
None of this stuff is
Well, you got a red shirt on.
What's the premise of the show? Exploring stuff. Come on, man! I want to see like death and destruction. I explore stuff every day,
Deep Space Nine was good.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
That's worth the beginning. They always got to start the story, but then it.
Is it better than Babylon 5? That's a no. All right.
Babylon 5 was good.
I watched Babylon 5 because the person I game with watched it, and I kind of liked it. It was all right. I'm not big on science fiction. You like science fiction. I really don't like science fiction.
Yep.
What did you want to be when you grew up? I assume.
At what age did I make this decision?
Say under 10. Under 10, when you didn't know any better.
Yeah,
when you were stupid.
Well, then I wanted to be an army guy, right? Hey!
How'd that work out for you?
Nope, didn't get there.
Really, you want to be an army guy?
Mm-hmm.
I want to be a cop.
Yeah, I want to join the military by then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, under 10.
Yeah.
I would make a terrible cop. I'd be like, oh, you again? Come on back here. Yeah.
Tony, we had another body in your district again.
Well, I'm not going to do it to people that don't deserve it. I'm just like, they found out they molested children. That's it. They don't find anybody.
Done.
Yeah,
Done.
it's game over.
Done.
So I would be
Why do you guys have no problems with crime? Tony's in that area.
Judge, jury, executioner, and film crew. All of the above. I wouldn't be those guys have a tough job. Yeah. And they got to wear polyester all the time.
Here's to them.
And and they don't even have to wear... Now, I don't like cops. So I had a cop incident today. It wasn't an incident, but, I work in Alachua. And that has so many cops that are just looking for somebody to speed through. It's a 45-mile-an-hour speed limit. So I'm like, joke's on them. I put it on 44, but it's like... Don't you guys have anything better to do? I know it's not the cop. It's the management that wants them to get revenue and to justify the fact. I understand that, but I don't have anything against cops. I just think that they're just bored. That's all. What do I want to be when I grow up? Yeah. Okay. Okay, here's the question. I'm going to read it exactly the way it's written. What will not be doing in 10 years? So that means either you miswrote it and meant, what will I be doing in 10 years? Or what won't you be doing in 10 years? So let's answer them both. What will you not be doing in 10 years?
Well, I hope not to be working.
How old are you?
54.
You going to retire when you're 64?
That'd be nice. I'm just saying.
Can you?
Who knows?
No, does your Social Security kick in then?
Yeah.
Or Medicare. The thing that you need so you don't get crucified by freaking medical costs.
Oh, Medicare.
Yeah, that's the problem. You can't, you can't retire before that.
But maybe I'll win the lottery and I could.
Are you playing?
No.
Okay. Yeah. He plays as much as I do. I played 3 times. I didn't win. I figured if I was gonna win, I was gonna win the 3 times. If it was meant to be, I was gonna,
I played about 6 times in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wasted your money. All $6
Well,
of it.
I went around with a bunch of other people.
How'd that work out for you?
Nobody won.
Okay. Well, you brought them all down.
We might have won like $20. I'm like, hey, let's reinvest it back in and hopefully.
And then everybody lost everything.
Exactly.
What will you be doing in 10 years? Working. You hope not to be working, but you will be working.
Yeah. Yeah.
In 10 years, I will be playing some DBA type of game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it'll be this. Hey, all bets are off. They could come up with a new version of it.
Yeah.
Somebody that I know might write a better version of it.
Uh-huh.
I don't know who that would be, but I have no plans to do it anytime soon. Could be 9 years away.
You never know.
That's why I don't want to paint light horse Mongols. Because it's going to end. Somebody was like, man, I'm really disappointed that you said in your video the other day that you're not going to paint Mongols anytime soon. No, because we're going to want to do some house rules and they'll be really cool, but I don't want to splinter the community. People have already done that and it didn't turn out well, okay? Yeah. So I'm not really interested in doing that. Yeah. It's not like, if I did make my set of rules, a set of rules or versions, I'm not going to charge for them. So it's not like I'm doing it for monetary reasons. I just,
We want to encourage you.
Now, what I could do is paint the Mongols after I have, say, my Russians done, and a historical battle where they fought, there might be special rules within that battle that the Mongols would play that way, and then it would be like, that's great, let's bring it to the normal game. Nope, we're not going to do that because that's going to discourage people, and, which version are you playing? I'm not interested in that, so. That burns calories in the wrong direction. If I'm going to be productive in doing stuff, I want to build other armies and support each other in this. Yes, the rules could be better. They could be a lot worse.
Exactly.
So, the worst thing about these rules is that not everybody plays them. That's the worst part. That is the worst part about the rules. Yeah. Is that some people are like, I play 2.2, I play 1.0, I play other rule sets that won't be mentioned.
Yep.
Okay.
Ta-da.
I'm going to answer this one first because I don't know shit about this period, okay? And you're going to rattle off a bunch of things, and because I don't know anything about this period, I'm going to end up picking one of the ones that you mentioned. Ooh. What was the best cavalry regiment of the Napoleonic Wars? I can only think of one thing, Polish Lancers, that's it. Hey, all my Polish friends, yay! Because they had like funny hats, right? They had like different hats, like straight hats or whatever.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Scots Greys.
Scots Greys? Oh, all the British love here.
Scottish. Not British, Scottish.
Are they?
Yeah.
Scots don't have any freaking cavalry.
Scots Greys.
So what you're telling me is that the horses wear kilts too?
My family room. You did not see that portrait in there?
No.
Scots Greys.
Okay.
Charge it more than that.
Okay.
Everybody.
What, did they win the battle or something?
No, but it was a great charge.
Okay, well, whatever.
It was a great charge.
Did they all have gray horses?
Yes.
Okay, so that's where they get the name.
Scots Greys.
Okay. I've obviously heard of them before. I didn't know that they were at Waterloo, but I've heard of them before. Yep. I knew that they were part of the British armies.
Yep.
Okay. But I didn't put 2 and 2 together that they were Scottish. It's not my period. It's not my period. Because the Scots I don't know the Scots as having cavalry. Okay? Yeah. Yes, they've had it, but that's not their predominant arm. Okay? They did it to themselves by not having a lot of cavalry historically. Okay?
Right. Yeah. Chalk one up for them.
That's like the Numidian Space Agency. Well, they don't have any freaking spacecraft. Why did I think about that?
Oh, God.
What's your favorite fictional character? I'm telling you, this is all over the place.
Yeah, wow.
You guys enjoying this? Hopefully.
I hope.
We're enjoying it. I like these questions, guys. I appreciate them. You may not, but I do.
Yeah.
They're fun.
I don't know if I get a favorite one. Why don't you go first?
Fictional character. How much fiction have I read? Not much, reading wise. So it would have to be in freaking movies. Well, somebody like Boba Fett or something like that. But, I mean, I like Star Wars, but I'm not a science fiction person. So the reason I like Star Wars is it's kind of a medieval. It's the storyline's kind of medieval. You know, it's not. It's science fiction, but it's not. If that makes any sense, you know, which is why
I got mine.
Who?
The captain on Firefly. I knew it'd get him.
I don't like Nathan Fillion. I'm sorry, I don't like him. Now, I tell you what, I don't like Nathan Fillion, but I think he did a good job as the weatherman on Modern Family. I think he was good in that role, but I don't, you know, I mean, he's probably a nice guy, but, you know, he doesn't do anything for me. Yeah, so I started watching that show. Everybody liked that show. And the only redeeming quality I saw about that show was the Brazilian girl that plays the prostitute, or whatever it is. And there just wasn't enough, you know. There just wasn't enough of her to carry it, you know.
Oh, there's enough of her.
Plus, favorite fictional character. Am I going to take a blank on this one?
Uh-oh.
I don't know. I mean, if you don't count the new movie, I always thought Han Solo was a cool character. So I like Harrison Ford, okay, but I understand Harrison Ford is very limited in what his capabilities are, okay? He can't do everything.
Right.
He doesn't make a good Russian submarine captain either, okay? He doesn't have a big repertoire of different things. But most actors are that way, okay? I think most actors can do kind of like their little niche thing, and that's kind of what they do. But Harrison Ford, if you've ever watched him in an interview, he is terrible. He's like, there's some people like, okay, I'm not a groupie person. Like, I'm not like, hey, who would you like to meet in real life that's famous, right? Like, I don't care if I never meet anybody in real life.
Questions?
No, it's not one of the questions. God damn it. These people are going to get their money's worth. Okay?
All right.
Who would you want to meet in real life? If you got to meet... We'll make our own freaking questions. That's 17A.
Oh, 17A.
Yeah, 17A. Who would you want to meet in real life?
Well, we can't.
I'm not really interested in meeting real people in life, but sometimes you come across somebody that's like, you see him and like, that person would be pretty cool to hang out with, okay? Mm-hmm. And Harrison Ford just seemed like a freaking dick. Mm-hmm. Just like a dry dick, you know? Yeah. Now, I like him in Indiana Jones. I like him in Han Solo, not the new right. Han Solo that sucked, right. Okay, and not the fourth Indiana Jones movie that we won't mention, okay. All right, we're not going to talk about that, okay. But I think, as much as I like Raiders of the Lost Ark, I think Han Solo is a better character than Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah,
I think he's a better character.
Yeah,
you know, because he's
yeah.
You know,
it's not.
It's not. Well, he's you know, he's chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
For you role player guys, okay? It's chaotic neutral, so.
Yeah.
I'll go with Han Solo. There you go. I like Han Solo better because he's got those sexy Nazi boots on. Something came across several years on YouTube, and I posted. I'm looking through my 1/72 scale plastic figures I had growing up. And I had the Airfix set. Well, mine were MPC, but the Airfix set of the German infantry. And they have an officer in the same pose that Han Solo is in his famous pose from the first one, where he's shooting his rip-off Mauser pistol or whatever. And he's got the same boots and the same pose. I'm like, coincidence? I think not. You know, they're totally rip-off of that.
Oh, man.
Okay.
What's next?
Here's a question I don't have an answer to. Because... if you think I don't like the Napoleonic period, I'm really not interested in the American Civil War. Who's your favorite American Civil War general? I can't give you one. I'm not into the period.
I am.
Well, it sure as hell wouldn't be a Yankee. I don't have one. It's not my period.
Well,
I didn't like the style of dress during that period, and you know.
No, again,
So
it's one of those areas where I followed it.
it's not going to be somebody from the north.
No, because
You're from the north, but you like the Confederate guys.
yeah, because like I mean,
Whatever that means.
I mean, it'd have to be like Lee.
Really?
Yeah,
That old
because
dude?
yeah, because he's always outnumbered. You know, he did a lot with very little. If that makes sense.
Okay.
You know.
You mean he stayed alive for 4 years?
Yeah. Yeah. I think he accomplished a lot with very little.
What did he accomplish?
Well, see, I mean, for fighting the war to the absolute going 4 years with what they had, he did what he could.
I thought you would have said Stonewall.
No.
But what was that movie that they did?
And who was in charge?
That doesn't mean anything.
Stonewall.
Okay, so I knew you liked Hitler more than Rommel. See, I knew it right here.
No.
There it is.
No, yeah. Rommel was pretty good.
No, we're not talking about World War II stuff.
No, I know.
You know.
Yeah. I'd say Lee, because he accomplished a lot with very little.
If I had to pick, I would say, who's the guy that was at Gettysburg?
The Chamberlain or
No, the
for the North or the South?
for the South for the South.
For
The second in command.
Longstreet.
Longstreet.
Yeah.
Because I like Tom Berenger.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. That's the only reason. The only thing I remember is that line where it said, "Well, boys are going to give them some bucket for all the lead they're going to catch." You know.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, this is a trick question. What's your favorite Monty Python film? We haven't seen any of them. Gotcha. Of course. There's only one. There's only one. Now, Life of Brian I love that stoning scene. The stoning scene in Life of Brian. And some of their skits are really good. Like, I like the argument skit. And I really like my daughter really likes Monty Python. She was like 8 years old and we watched Holy Grail, except the oral sex scene with the virgin. We skipped that. Okay, it's things I don't want to talk about. Anyhow, I'd be more embarrassed about it now than she would be. Whatever the hell that means. But she loves the Ministry of Silly Walks. That's hilarious. That skit. But yeah, Holy Grail. What's your favorite scene in Holy Grail?
Well, I must say, it's a tie.
Okay, what's one of them?
The tie is between, because now keep in mind, Luke was like 2 years old and he understood the humor. He was laughing at 2 years old when we watched that movie.
No,
he understood.
What? No,
he laughed.
No. What is it? He has half of the genetic makeup of this guy who laughs at anything. Okay, so of course he's laughing at 2 years old.
So the Black Knight and the cat. Ram! Bring out your dead! Ram!
Oh yeah, the cat was funny. My daughter liked the cat.
See, and the Black Knight.
It wasn't a real cat, folks. Simmer down.
Chill out.
I like the Black Knight. There's snippets of it that I like.
Mm-hmm.
Some people love the coconut thing. I'm like, okay, whatever. Of course, the Frenchman on the castle. What are you doing in England? Mind your own business.
Yeah.
And the Black Knight definitely.
What's your favorite color?
That one's good. Yeah.
I'm in search of a shrubbery.
3 shall be the number of the counting, and the number of the counting shall be 3. 4 is right out.
Look at his huge fangs.
Yeah, there's good stuff in it.
Oh man.
I saw it late in life. I didn't see it.
Oh man.
I never. I didn't see it until I was
early in life and often.
Probably 20. So I appreciated it more than maybe if I would have seen it as a kid. Oh, here's a good one for you. What book are you currently reading?
Oh. Okay.
Do you read books?
I used to.
Okay. What was the last book you read? Ha! Gotcha.
Napoleonic.
Oh my gosh.
Probably the source book on Napoleonic.
Oh my gosh. No wonder you stopped reading.
Yeah. I enjoy that period. I enjoy it.
Napoleonic battles, also known as metric versus the world. Not that I have a problem with the metric system, just I'm just calling it what it is. I don't read either, but I have it read to me, so I do while I'm driving. And I don't know who the book is by right now, but it's a couple of years old, and it's on Normandy, and it's like a new history of Normandy, and it's kind of done with little snippets of, kind of like how I remember a book that I did read called Citizen Soldiers by whatever his name is, the guy that wrote Band of Brothers, the guy who got busted for all the plagiarism.
Shelby?
No, you know who it is. You guys know who it is. But anyways, he did his Citizen Soldiers where it was little snippets of almost like little vignettes of what they were going through World War II, and it's only from the American side. But this one has kind of the same thing, little vignettes and scenarios of the German defenders and the Allies also, leading up to Normandy and also as well. It looked interesting, so that's what I'm reading right now. Okay. Or having read to me right now.
Nice.
But the best thing, here's my plug for Audible, even though I'm not sponsored by Audible, but you guys should check it out. I don't get anything, but there's a book, if you guys do have Audible and you're interested in DBA type stuff, there's a book called Ghosts of Cannae. It is, and I've gone through probably, I'm going to say 60 books on Audible. It's the best one of them all. It's a great story. The guy that narrates it is superb. He pronounces everything right and emphasizes everything correctly. And it's not just about the Battle of Cannae. It's the lead up to it, like even through the First Punic War, up to the Second Punic War, Cannae, and then what happens afterwards. And it's excellent. So check that out if you have an Audible account. It is well worth it. What is your next DBA army going to be, Mitch?
Han.
The Han Chinese. As soon as you find a painter.
Yeah. A and B.
Are they up here?
Yep, they're there. There they are.
Essex, you bought them on big discount, right? 25% off?
That was in 2019, just before
all hell broke loose.
Yeah.
Before all hell broke
loose. Because they had
loose.
a big sale on it.
Yeah, 25% off.
Yeah. So I was like, hey!
You just need a painter. So if you guys are interested in painting figures for Mitch.
But I want it
yes?
Nice.
Yeah, you want some painted nice. So, who's going to paint them, so.
Well, I haven't pursued it very hardly. So.
No. I'll pay them for you, but you know what's going to cost you.
No, you got your own things to do.
I made him a reasonable offer. You could pay me in ammo at the old... No, it's ammo at the old price. Okay? And I'm not cheap, so it's going to cost you a lot of ammo. I mean, like...
old price,
3,000 rounds or 4,000 rounds or something like that.
Yeah, old price.
It's not like you don't have 4,000 rounds.
I know.
Oh!
Oh, God.
See, you don't have to buy a lot of ammo, folks. You just got to know... You just have to have enough ammo to hold the person at gunpoint that has more. Okay? Think about it, folks. All right. This is one I don't think I know the answer to. What is your favorite little-known historical fact? So what is the thing that you know that's a historical fact that you say to most people that they don't know?
Well, I don't say it to most people. But
and I'm not talking about your customers that don't know jack shit.
No. Yeah. But I don't say it to most people, but...
Like, what fact can you tell me right now that I don't know?
Did you know...
Yes. Yes.
Let's see. At La Haye Saint.
Oh, here we go. Is that like a Napoleonic thing?
Yes, it is.
It's one of the places in Waterloo, right?
That's right.
Is that the town they fought over?
Because the infantry that was holding it...
Okay.
That their ammunition wagon broke down, or they did not get to the battle in time, so they were low on ammunition. So there was a lot of hand-to-hand combat because their ammunition did not get to them for the start of the battle. So then I had whatever they had, like 60 rounds, and
which sounds like a lot,
but it's not. It's not. And but they held that place as long as they could with low ammo.
The British?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
unit was in LaHaye Saint?
Oh, so I knew you were gonna.
I bet they wore red.
I want to say that. Well, not necessarily. I want to say it was 95th Rifles, but I'm not sure.
Well, they wore green. I don't think they
I'd
were
have
there.
to look them up.
I don't think the 95th Rifles were there.
Well, there was.
I mean,
somebody there.
at holding that.
They were light infantry though, and I know that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The ones that held it were light infantry?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I know that. And but I'd have
And
to
they were
look
British, not Dutch, Belgian, or Portuguese or
Right,
anything
they
like
were
that?
British. They
Okay.
were British, and I have to look it up. But I do know that their ammunition wagon, broke down.
Okay. Do
So
most
they
people
didn't
not
give
know
me-
that?
I don't know. I just always thought it was kind of interesting. No, you know, because like how we always you can't control, factors. That's one of those things that something happened.
Well,
You
some
can't
people
control
can't
it.
stand that.
Yeah, I know, but we like it,
We do like it.
and it
We do
just
like
shows. It's one of those
It's called
things.
chaos management.
It's one of those things in real life that something happens, and you can't control it. And yeah, you'd like all the ammunition that you want there, but it didn't show up. Something happened.
Mhm.
The wheel broke. Horse
Mhm.
died. Whatever. And you got to make do with what you got.
Mhm.
It's one of those.
That's your little known fact.
That's why I think. Maybe somebody knows. I don't know.
The only one I can think of right off the bat, and there's probably many, but honestly I forget stuff. Like World War II is my period. I know lots of little known facts of World War II. I used to, but I think as you learn new things about this medieval stuff, I forget or I misremember things that I used to know about World War II. It's just people say, "Oh, the mind's infinite." Well, not if you don't exercise it, So I used to know a lot more about interesting things that would happen, but one of the things that strikes me that I didn't learn about until I'd say relatively recently is can you give me a Coke?
The Coke. Yep.
Yeah. If you think I'm white enough to drink a Coke, or am I too white to drink a Coke? Or is that a thing, or that was just in the news last week?
It's an up and coming, I think.
That was a February thing.
Go ahead, continue.
So one of the things I found out recently, you know what, the stuff the Germans had on their vehicles. Again, back to the Germans. Well, they had cool stuff on there. I mean, they were rat bastards.
Yep.
But
What about the Germans?
What about the
Gene
Germans, right?
In Gene Hackman's own words, what about the
what
Germans?
about the Germans? So Scherzen, you know what Scherzen are, right?
Scherzen?
Scherzen.
No, do explain. Oh, you gotta make these break. Is it true?
No.
Yeah.
The armored skirts that like a Panzer IV had
Oh.
around the outside, right? What's
Yeah.
it for? Why did they do that?
Oh, to keep the pen, make it explode on the outside.
Okay. For what things explode on the outside?
Big bazookas and stuff like
Right.
that.
That's what we grew up thinking, right?
Yeah.
Apparently that wasn't the case.
Uh-oh.
Because they used them in the Russian front. Russians didn't really have very many bazookas.
Yeah, that's true.
I think they got some Lend-Lease. It was for anti-tank rifles. The Russians had a crap ton of anti-tank rifles.
Yeah.
The Russian anti-tank rifles were 14.5 millimeter, which is not something to sneer at.
Yeah.
That's pretty freaking nasty.
Yeah.
That's like a 50 cal on crack,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it was for. It was to stop that stuff because it
Stop
was
that.
Hmm?
Stop that.
to stop that. Yeah, well, obviously it works against bazookas and
Yeah.
heat rounds and stuff like that. But we grew up thinking it was for bazookas and stuff like that. Just like the paste, right? The Zimmerit. That was to keep people from putting those anti-magnetic mines and walking away from them.
Yeah.
But the Russians really didn't
Right.
have anti-magnetic mines.
Uh-huh.
It really, unless they captured the German ones. They may have had them, but it wasn't as big a deal as it was. But the Scherzen really thing surprised me because we all grew up
Thinking that it was an anti-bazooka thing.
anti-bazooka thing,
Yeah.
But a lot of the stuff is like, I did a lot of my World War II gaming before the Soviet Union opened up. So we're only getting one side of the thing,
Yeah.
okay?
Yep.
So, we grew up, everybody in the West grew up thinking this.
Mm-hmm.
And that may not be correct, and that's okay. It's not
Right.
like I'm dead set in my ways and this is always the way it was, so. Scherzen,
Yeah.
what's your worst subject in school?
English. English.
And it's not like it shows or anything. English in particular, or like
The spelling.
or the spelling part? Oh, we know that.
See?
Handwriting.
Okay. Next.
For me, like something like diagramming sentences. Just let me write freaking sentences. I didn't like writing. I get writer's block. I could do it, but it's difficult to get started. Yeah, who wants to? That was definitely one for me. I didn't have a problem with math as long as it wasn't algebra 2. Like that quadratic formula is the work of the devil. No. I don't like abstract math. I don't like abstract math at all. Like algebra, you may not use it every day. I use algebra every day. It's not really math. It's the process, the reasoning stuff, And like I love proofs because I had a good teacher, It's in it, so it just made sense. So it clicked for me. So it was definitely English. I hated poetry. Anything poetry was just god awful. Except I won a class in college where we took Macbeth and we all sat around in a corner. No, we didn't smoke anything.
No.
But the problem with Shakespeare is the language it's written in, But the stories are good. Like Macbeth's a good story, And we just kind of dissect it, and that was fun to do. But yeah, I didn't like English at all. Okay, you're answering this one first. 25. This is supposedly the last question, then we'll get to your questions that you guys have sent in to us. Hey, it only took over an hour and a half to get to that, but hey, drink.
Some other ones. Drink.
Cheers.
25 on the 17th.
Oh, we're going to add a question 24 and a half. So since I'm drinking out of my Game of Thrones cup, what was your favorite house?
Out of Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
The wolf.
What was your favorite character out of Game of Thrones?
Oh, the little dude.
That was your favorite character?
Yeah. He has so many good one-liners.
Yeah, because of the one-liners. Huh?
Oh, yeah.
Who else? Who else did you like?
King of the North, then.
Jon Snow?
Yeah.
You like Jon Snow?
Yeah.
I wouldn't follow him to a freaking porta potty. I didn't like him at all.
Yeah.
I didn't like him at all. Who's my favorite character? I was going to say the governor. Oh, that's a different series.
Another drink.
I liked Jamie Lannister. I thought he was awesome. I thought he was freaking awesome. I didn't like how his character ended, but I thought he was awesome. I didn't like who he was sleeping with, but I thought that the scene where he gets captured by the big girl, I can't remember what her name is, Bran or something like that, and he's just hounding the living shit out of her while he's got him prisoner. It's just freaking hilarious. There's a lot of great ones. Oh, the best one-liners is the mercenary dude. No, the mercenary dude. Whatever his name is, Bourne or whatever his name is. Yeah. He's got the best one-liners. He's got the best one-liners whatsoever.
The little dwarf with the unit.
No. The best one-liners was what's his name. He had the best one-liners. So supposedly that actor that played that, because I don't really follow actors, but you start looking at some of the history or whatever, and you can't help but find some stuff out. So the guy that played him, the actor that played, I think that's what his name is, Bjorn or something like that.
Go with it.
Yeah. And Jamie Lannister's sister, whatever her name is, Cersei.
Yeah.
They actually dated in real life. And apparently it didn't end well, so they couldn't stand each other on set.
Oh.
But that was a pain in the ass to deal with.
Man.
Every week, week in and week out.
Oops.
Yeah, so.
Again, folks, don't mix your honey with where you work.
Okay, last question until we get to your questions. See if I can throw in another speed bump so we never get to it. Hey, look, we're just giving you a little crumbs so you stick around. Julius Caesar, Mark Antony, or other favorite Roman? Who? Go.
Mark Antony.
Why?
Because he's an honorable guy.
Is he?
Yeah.
That guy was like worthless.
No.
He was loyal to Caesar, but that was it.
Yeah.
He wasn't good at anything else.
Right.
I liked him because I liked the guy that played him in the series. He was that guy's awesome. Talk about one-liners. He had all the one-liners in freaking Rome. I like that one scene where he's in a battle and he's eating a freaking apple, like in no hurry. I could watch that again. I can't remember what the name of that actor is, but he's kick-ass. And the funny thing is, if you watch Ironclad, his character is the opposite of Mark Antony, the character you play. I like Mark Antony because I call him by his Roman name, Marcus Antonius, which it's a little bit like my name, No, but he was kind of worthless. But I'll tell you what, he's in my Marian army. I've got Caesar because there's like a Caesar figure for him, and I've got a Mark Antony figure as well, and that's why I built Armenians because he went into Armenia and all that stuff, and that was anyhow. No, my favorite one would have been Sulla. I like Sulla.
Was he on there?
No, he's not. Or other favorite Roman.
Okay. We'll let that one slide.
I like Sulla because he became dictator and then walked away from it.
Which not all.
Kind of like Trump. Oh wait. Oh man, drink. No, Sulla was the guy that fought your Mithridates guy. Okay, twice. Actually, he didn't fight him. He fought his generals.
Yep. By default.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I'm not a Scipio Africanus fault. I mean, nobody really. I mean, there's one picture. There's one sculpting that is attributed to him, but it doesn't even look like him. It looks like some. I don't know. It just didn't look. It didn't look like him. But you guys know what I'm talking about, But I definitely like any Roman over the Carthaginians.
There you
go. For sure. I'm not a Carthaginian fan. Sorry, folks. You don't sacrifice your own children and be my hero in my book.
Yep.
Okay, now we got to go back to the beginning and holy moly. Okay. Rick says he's been waiting all day for this. Okay. Australian Greg, beer o'clock. One for Mitch. As you know, Collision Course is coming up in May. He doesn't know that that's coming up. Mitch doesn't watch that forum, okay? Mitch doesn't watch Fanaticus. But they're running a Collision Course thing in May in Canberra, I believe, is where it is.
I'll try and make it.
Which, by the way, I don't know if you're still listening to this. So Australia has this round robin thing where they play different events. At the end of the year, you get your scoring. And if you win a prize that's called the Maurice. Why is it called the Maurice? Is there somebody there named Maurice or something like that?
Great.
You can call me Maurice. Sorry, different song reference there. Yeah, not that I listen to lyrics or anything, like you can see. So, oh, this is a shame. I've been scrolling if I don't hold on to it. So I guess I'll hold on to it. What do you consider the optimal mix of elements for this format, and what armies would you use for Collision Course? What is the optimal mix of elements? Well, why for him? Oh, so I don't have an opinion.
Because he knows that I like it, and
I like it too.
Quite successful.
I've even mentioned that I made.
More successful than you.
Really? Show me your records.
My last 4.
Show me your records.
Like 22 and 4.
That's why you write down records. You just can't make up shit on the fly. Jeez. You gotta run for Congress.
Good at it. Oh.
If you get into politics, we stop being friends.
I like my polls in that.
Okay. We even thought before this filmed, we got a theme for Monday, and it may even be Collision Course. So stay tuned. It'll be interesting if we do it.
I like my polls on that. Though.
Do you?
The early ones. B list. Yeah. You
definitely need some army, some troop types that are fast to grab stuff and get out there.
Yeah, but you still need. So
what's a bad element for it?
Oh, solid.
Artillery generals are the worst.
Solid ox.
Really? When have you used solid ox in one of them?
I haven't. You know what? All the games I played in it, I have. Well, I might have had one in.
You know what we need to do, folks?
In the Roman one.
You know what we need to do? We need to have Mitch play the Sam Knights, and I'll play all the enemies that we haven't done yet, and we'll just see. We'll see how. Hey, you're good. You're bound to do better than me. No, I'll be honest with you. Most of the games, I would even say 80% of the games that we played,
they were close.
I could have won.
Yeah.
I just didn't. It just, it's just one of those things.
Yep.
So,
Kinky laid down.
something like that. Okay, so did you really answer his question?
Yeah, I did. I said early polls B list.
Okay.
I really like the layout of those troop types.
Okay. Holy moly. Okay. Marco Mavro. I'm not sure where that's from. Sounds Eastern European, but the Marco sounds like you might be related to me. Question 1. Played some DBN 21 years ago with the late Macedonian army. Can I rebase, repaint some figures, and then construct a DBA Athenian or other army? No, you should build a later Macedonian army with them.
Yeah.
Athenian would be totally different.
Yeah.
Unless you do like really later Athenians, because they eventually did use pikes. But we're talking very, very late, not when they were in their prime or anything, because they're basically all spearmen. I mean, you could use them, and other than somebody that was informed, they wouldn't know. We play with more figures all the time, so it wouldn't bother us,
Exactly.
So
you just let them know ahead of time. Hey, I'm gonna
just make sure you use Litko stands or something similar to that, So. Holy moly. Question number 2. I used to have metal bases, but I'm having trouble finding them. What should I use for bases? I think we just answered that.
Litko.
Yeah,
Okay.
Litko. If you're in the States, okay, Litko. If not, I think Europe. I think everybody. I mean, shipping is just nailing everybody to the cross. I think now. I mean, I think shipping to Europe within Europe is okay, but shipping to the UK is bad, and us getting stuff from the UK is still okay. But if I understand people. So one guy that I watch on his blog, he did a blog, he did a post specifically on this, and he said that he had ordered some mats. He's in the UK, and he ordered some mats from Eastern Europe, and he may have ordered more than mats, but he spent about £200 sterling. So he spent a lot, okay, and he got a bill from the delivery service, not the government, for £70.
They have to pay before they can get it, right?
No, not this time. This time they decided to pay for them.
Okay.
So, like, let's say he FedExed them, and FedEx says, "Hey, we sent this to you, but you owe us £70."
Ouch.
And he was okay with it. Well, you guys in the UK, you're used to getting nailed by taxes. It's like it pisses us the hell off.
Yeah.
We like, that's why we have guns. To stop that shit.
We'll fight a war over that shit.
Not only will we fight a war over it, we'll win it too. I like them apples. And we'll name a third of your cities after freaking with French names. Okay? And the other third, Spanish names. How you like them apples?
Man.
Woo. No, I don't, you gotta pay taxes, but But are we going to talk about taxes?
There's a point.
No, I think I don't mind paying taxes, but either tax my income or tax my spendings, but not all that. And you're taxing me in every which way, and you guys still can't balance a checkbook.
Yeah.
It's like you have no responsibility. It's like if you have a child that's a crack whore, okay, and they don't know how to spend money, and they keep asking me for more money. So why volunteer to give them more money? They're still going to want more money.
Right on.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem,
That's right.
So,
That's right.
prove to me you can balance a checkbook. So, all right. So much for not getting political. Hey, it's not political, it's common sense. If it doesn't make sense to you guys, then, I can't help that. Glad to be here. Thanks for doing this. You're welcome, Marco. We're enjoying the hell out of this. Oh, here we go. Somebody's already on the bandwagon. Stephen Curry. When Mitch commands when does Mitch command the Sam Knights? What figure manufacturer made the figures for the Sam Knight army? I believe it was Museum. I believe it was Museum figures. They're nice figures. I like Museum. It's nothing against the guy who donated them.
Yep.
That was very gracious of him.
Yep.
And we're just making fun. I mean, it was just, it's
bad luck is bad luck.
Bad luck is bad. Yeah, it happens.
Drink.
So speaking of bad luck, I haven't edited the last 1 in 3 loss that I had, but I'm pretty sure You're within like 5 games of tying me.
It's a good time to play Salmonite.
Maybe not for you. Yeah, it's a good time for me to fight your Samnites with him. So what does exactly mean that I've won 5 more games than he has? We've played 850 times. So it's just basically a draw. And the good thing is, I've already told him, if he surpasses my wins against him, he's got to do a film crew. He's got to do the filming now from now on, and do the painting. All the painting you'll have to do. You'll have to do all the filming and editing.
Definitely gonna play Salmonite.
So go ahead, folks, and keep rooting for Life Olympics here, and and you guys won't have any more videos.
Salmonite coming up 24/7. Oh man.
Oh man. Let's see here. Oh my gosh, lots of questions. Man, I really appreciate that. Tony, I suggest you try bolt action in 15 millimeter. No. No, sorry, Mr. The Real Pad. The Real Pad? No, I wouldn't do World War II in 15 millimeter. No, I'm stuck on 20s, man. I love 20s. And I don't like bolt action. It's too basic. It's too basic. You know. Yeah. It would be like sequestering a Formula One driver and saying, hey, why don't you play Formula DE? A little game with little race cars. No. No. It's... You know, I know somebody who's a Napoleonics. He has a PhD, and he did his PhD in something Napoleonics. He does not play Napoleonic stuff because it's his religion, so to speak. You know, I feel the same way. So, cannot wait to answer this one. Well, hopefully, Rick, you heard the answer to that one. Crossing Obstacles Gaming. Look at this guy. So this guy he actually created his icon first. Okay, it's a little cog. And he named himself Crossing Obstacles Gaming. Cog. I thought it was brilliant. It's a nice little icon there. I appreciate that kind of stuff. So, Marty, are scenario games or historical-based battles more or less fun than standard DBA?
I like it. I mean, the ones we did, I thought were cool. But that's unbiased.
In some ways, I like them better. In some ways, I like them worse. I like them worse because I'm not necessarily playing my own army. So it doesn't give me incentive to necessarily build more armies. Okay, it's the same reason why I don't like match pairs. Here's 2 armies, and you may get to play the latest one I built. So I don't want to do that yet. However, I do appreciate a game where I have to start with a messed up deployment. I'll be honest with you. It gets old setting up in a line the same way every time.
Yeah.
That's why collision course is cool, because you never know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
You know, you may be forced into doing something that not everybody can come on the board all at the same time. Okay, but setting up in a standard game is kind of boring. I mean, I've done it thousands of times, literally. So playing a scenario game is really cool. I don't like big battle because of the breaking up the commands and stuff, but I do like when we did the thing that Marty did the other day, where we all on the same, we could be on one team or on opposite team or have our own agendas or whatever, but we're all playing with our 12, 13, 14, 11 elements on our own, and we're kind of cooperating. I like that, you know. It's different. It's good to do all of it. It's good to do all of it. So
every little bit.
Yeah. Let's see here, man. When we gonna play Pig Wars again, man? I don't know. We haven't done any Pig Wars.
Yeah.
We haven't done any Pig Wars. I don't own this stuff. Now, speaking about the guy that mentioned Mr. The Real Pad, I'm guessing that's what it is. Mr. The Real Pad, as Mrs. the Fake Pad, as opposed to Mrs. the Fake Pad.
Yeah.
Talking about different scales, it would be cool to do Saga, for instance. I've never played Saga. I may hate it, but I have a feeling that we would find some interesting things in it with controlling the command dice and how do you do that. But I would do Saga if it was in 15s, but it's 28s. 20s just take too long to paint for me. You know, do you really forget that? Okay, look, if 15s cost what 28s did, and 28s cost what 15s, I'd still do 15s. because it's going to take me 8 hours to paint a 28 millimeter figure. Mitch, do you think I should paint
And
8 hours for a 28 millimeter? Well, I could work on. Some of us could use a workout.
Say
But,
the boxes are heavier.
well, that's true.
Come
But,
on, girly man, it's too heavy.
okay. All right. So, yeah, but yeah. Panther had 8 millimeter gun sloped armor. Yeah, answer that one. Ferdinand, if we're counting it as a tank, yeah, I would count that. So you like the Ferdinand with? Okay, so that actually back to this question. Who was that? Was that Cog? Yes, crossing obstacles, Mr. Cog. The question is, what is your
Favorite
little known historical fact? So he said Ferdinand. You know what a Ferdinand is, right?
It's like the biggest tank, isn't it?
No,
What
it's
is
an
it?
elephant.
Yeah,
It's an elephant that
Oh,
was a
that's
Kursk.
that's right.
Okay, and what's different between them?
They didn't have any machine guns.
They didn't have a bow machine gun.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was two. Again, I could get these details wrong, but hey, here's your incentive to look it up. Not to prove me wrong. I'm wrong all the time. Okay, but just so you guys can learn. Okay, there used to be 2 regiments or 2 battalions. I think it was battalions that had them. They were both in the north, which is not the cursed punch that gets the most attention.
The South got the best.
The South
Penetration.
had the South had the best.
That's
They had
right.
they had
Yeah.
Gross Deutschland was down there.
Yeah.
1st, 2nd, and 3rd SS were down there. They had more tanks.
Yeah.
Okay. The North had the Ferdinands.
Uh-huh.
So the Ferdinands were in 2 different battalions. They may have been attached to infantry divisions or whatever. They fought over, I believe they fought over a town called Poniri. There was a big, we'll call it a little Stalingrad because that's kind of where they got stopped and they didn't go any further.
Uh-huh.
But there was 2 battalions, the 654th and 653rd. One of them had, so they had no way to defend against infantry.
Yeah.
So one of them had wooden planks that they put behind the superstructure where some Panzer Grenadiers could ride back there and provide some kind of close infantry support. Okay?
Infantry against infantry.
And the other battalion, now I could get this mixed up. In other words, the same battalion had both things. Okay? But I'm just going to say it's a different battalion had it. I know one of them had the little planks, the kind of makeshift, like, this is not working very well. We have to do something about this, you know? And the other ones actually had MG42s that they, talk about loud, that they used to fire through the barrel of the 88 millimeter, through the 71 millimeter, 71 caliber 88 millimeter gun. So it's this is the King Tiger gun. Okay? The Yak Panther has that gun. The Elephant Ferdinand has that gun, and the King Tiger has that gun.
I had it in mind.
Right. Well, first of all, you can only see a very little aspect, so it's
Yeah.
probably good at long range. But when they're on top of you, you know,
It
you're like
doesn't work so
rotating
good.
that thing down. Plus, that's got to mess up the rifling in the freaking
Yeah,
88.
it doesn't work
You know.
so good.
Yeah, because that gun's a lot more powerful than the Tiger gun.
Yeah.
Because the gun on the Tiger is a little bit better than the gun on the Panther. Even though the Panther is a 75 millimeter gun, it's a 70 caliber 75 millimeter gun. Hey, I've got to say all this stuff because I got all this jambalaya in my brain, okay?
Right.
And the Tiger has a 56 caliber 88 millimeter gun. So the 88's got a lot more better for HE,
Uh-huh.
but penetration wise, they're similar. The 88's a little bit better, but the one that's in that Ferdinand is
The best.
is the best one
Yep.
of that one.
Yep.
You know, of those 3. But they were in the north. Look it up. It was two different battalions, and I don't know how many were in each one. Maybe 14 or 20 or something like that. Lots of them broke down, and some of them were taken out by other stuff. But they had a lot of freaking armor on the front. But that was the thing. One of them had MG42s. They fired through the barrel. And can you imagine being inside of that thing and firing a? Well, I guess it would be any different than a coax. I don't know. Freaking bullet casings everywhere. You know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Anyhow, look that up, folks. There's your interesting reading
There you go.
for today. I might even look it up myself. Told you I was a rivet head. Which book of Army List has the most challenges for new players? I think
challenges are fun.
Challenges. Now my question.
Book 1 then.
Book 1? Why?
Because they don't have a lot of the war bands and knights and stuff that quick kill stuff. So then you're out there.
So it's a challenge you're trying to do.
Yeah, you're slugging it out.
See, I think it's the easiest book 1 probably.
But you're slugging it out.
There may not be any longbow. There's no crossbow in definitely in book 1.
But there's
unless the Vietnamese D list. Okay, unless the D list of the Vietnamese, book 149D. Yes, I know that. I don't remember my wife's birthday, but I know that the early Vietnamese is book 149D.
Yeah.
No, none of them have crossbows. Okay, which means none of them have longbows. There may be the Indians. I don't think anybody has longbows, so you don't have to worry about that tie against a heavy chariot where we quick kill. So you eliminate that.
There's some crossbows. Oh,
you have crossbows?
D? Or
okay,
B?
so there are crossbows in book 1.
Well, there's B list has crossbows.
Oh, Nangwei. Yeah.
Yeah, they get crossbows.
Okay. No, forget what I said. I still think it has the least amount of different troop types, so.
But, yeah, because, there's not a whole lot of knights.
There's no dismounting. Or if there is, there might be, one army or something that.
It's very restricted. Book 1 is very restrictive.
Right, so it doesn't have has the least amount of challenges.
Right. That's why I think that's hard though. It's not easy because what?
No, I think that's easy to learn how to play the game.
Oh, I see what you're saying. There's no, because there's no knights hardly. I mean, there's knights, but not a lot.
I think the bad thing about book 1 is most of the armies. There's a lot of armies that don't get played.
They're real basic. And
so everybody's focused in a whole book playing, say, 10 armies. I don't know how many armies are in there. How many are in there? About 60?
59?
60.
Oh, going? 64?
There's 64.
64.
There's 64 armies in book 1. Okay? And there might be a dozen armies that everybody plays. So it stinks from the standpoint of everybody's playing the same type of armies. Mm-hmm. Instead of book 4 that most of them are probably playable. Book 3, 2, lots of Roman stuff in there, that people play. But I would say book 1 probably has the least amount of challenges.
Yep.
I'd say 4 probably has the most because there's all kinds of special situations.
All kinds of different troops in 4 and 3.
Yep. Booze is my guilty pleasure. Derek Mercer likes Alexander. The Count of Monte Cristo is the greatest movie of all time.
That was good.
You talking about the one with who's in that? Guy Pearce? The new one or an old one?
Yeah, there's a couple versions of that. There is a couple versions.
I saw it once.
The newer version's pretty cool.
I don't remember anything about it.
The newer version's pretty cool.
I get that one and the Man in the Iron Mask mixed up. But then I haven't seen them back and back. If you mention one, you know what there's a crap load of? Musketeer movies. Yeah. Holy crap. Yeah. There's even Russia, what are the Russians doing doing Three Musketeers? Yeah. I mean, go back to the Gulag.
And Mother Russia, we have the Musketeers.
Yeah, I don't need to watch that. What I do want to watch is the one on the one from 1946, 47. The one that has
Errol Flynn.
Has Errol Flynn and it has what's his name is Richelieu. Vincent Price as Richelieu, and it's in color, and that's where all the sword fighting is inspired by in all these other movies, and I want my daughter to watch it. Yeah. She'd get a kick out of it because she watches old movies. Yeah. I don't mind old movies. I don't mind foreign movies. I just don't like
black and white.
Black and white movies. That's right, because they're racist. I don't like black and white movies. That's not why I like them. That's not really the colors that things are, so. KV2 hands down. The Panther. There's this one scenario. This one scene, and apparently it happened more than once now because again the Russian archives have opened since then. But there's this one scene that happened on the drive to Leningrad, and there was a KV2. I think it was a KV2. At least it was. And It just showed up at as a roadblock, and here comes, I think it was the 7th Panzer Division. It's Rommel's old unit in France. And it's equipped with Czech tanks, Czech 38 tanks with big rivets and everything. They were okay, but I think they have a 2-man turret. But yeah, they can't do anything against the KV-2. And he sits there and he takes all these tanks out, and he's just sitting there, and they wait for nightfall, and they bring the KV-2 may have even broken down. For whatever reason, it was not moving from this spot. And I guess the Germans had to come through here. It may have been between the swamps, and this was one of the lands that they had to get through here to get to that. And they sent in like engineers at night with hollow charges and everything, and they couldn't get it to budge or anything. And they finally didn't get it to budge until they called in I think they called in like an 88 and knocked out the 88. They saw the 88 coming and knocked them out and everything. Then they call in like Stukas on his ass or something like that.
Always call in the Stuka.
Always call in the Stuka.
Never go wrong with the Stuka.
Yeah. So.
What's next?
What, you got to take a leak or something?
Yeah.
Oh, do you? Oh, okay. Well, we'll just, we'll wait for Mitch to come in. Oh, you're going to do? Well, how are you going to wash your hands? Hey, close that door, man. I don't want them flying roaches. See, that's why winter's better. No flying roaches. Oh, man. Hopefully you guys are continuing to answer the questions here. So, you know, ME-262 came around the same time that could have had air superiority. I don't know. It was it's interesting reading about this the Normandy book that I'm reading now, because it's I'm not, my preference of reading about World War II is the time period when I think things are balanced. So we're talking about like 41, 42, or like the stuff in the desert, but not Tunisia, because after it starts swinging one way, I kind of lose interest in it from a wargaming standpoint. So I think Normandy is like, there's no way they could have, gotten back from that. But so I like the Russian front, because again, you like, which bad guy do you want to play? You've got you're not doing one of those things, and I'm not particularly passionate about playing Americans. I like playing people that I'm not. So I'm already American, so there's not an incentive in doing that. Besides, we don't have the best voices. If we're playing a war game, we don't have the best voices for war games. So,
Which war game?
Okay. Loudspeakers on Shermans, play music. It's a mother beautiful tank. Somebody had to bring up that frickin' movie.
Kelly's Heroes.
Okay, so I saw that movie once, and I
it always comes across like a Vietnam War.
That's why I don't like it. That's why I don't like the movie.
No, exactly. It's like,
let me give you an example. Okay, another silly World War II thing is Hogan's Heroes. Hogan's Heroes is totally silly, right? But it doesn't have a hippie type of vibe like Vietnam. Yeah. So it doesn't bother me as much.
Yep.
Because that stuff didn't exist back then, So, and I don't like movies where they always portray, and I'm not necessarily being pro-American. I just make it seem like, well, maybe it was just a sign of the times. Back in the day, all the movies they made, all the World War II movies were always for the most part, from the U.S. vantage point. For the most part. So, and it always portrayed the people that were working together like a bunch of idiots. Like just, fucking around, okay? Basically, there's no other way to say it, screwing around. But yet they still managed to win the war. So what does it make it look the Germans like? The Germans were supposed to be like really orderly, but they lost. So if you read like first-hand accounts, like I've read a couple of ones from the German standpoint of the Russian front, the same stuff happened to them. They had drunks, and they had one guy who couldn't hear and stuttered, and they had a bunch of misfits too, but they don't get portrayed that way in some of these movies. So it looks really one-sided, and it's not that it makes the U.S. look bad. It just makes it look like, oh, the idiots won.
Yeah.
And it's like, you should need to show that there's that kind of stuff on both sides.
Yeah.
And, but anyway, so Kelly's Heroes. I like I think every actor that's in that, at least all the major ones that I like all of them. I just don't like them in that movie because that movie has that That Vietnam, yes.
Vietnam,
The
60s.
music, everything. Now,
Yeah.
I've seen it one time. I'm willing to give it another shot. I've even my reason for doing it is I'll let my daughter watch it, okay? And that way we can watch it together. I've only seen it one time and didn't like it because of that. You know. But everybody likes that movie. Everybody likes that. I guess a lot of people were like potheads that watched that movie. That's the, I can't relate, you know. I can't relate. So
Okay. Makes two of us.
here's my
Yay!
my
Drink!
drug of choice.
Drink!
Here's my other drug of choice. Drink. Yeah. No, actually, this is caffeine. Caffeine's what I'm all about. All right, but I'll give it another shot because I do like all the actors. Well, the major ones, anyways.
Right. What?
Yeah. My daughter loves Don Rickles.
Oh.
I had her to watch some of the comic that he does.
He's got a lot of stuff.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah.
But that's how comedy used to be when I grew up. You made fun of everybody, and you just, you know, it's not personal. It's just hilarious. Stuka sounded wicked too. The Corsair is the coolest plane. So there's two things I don't like. There's several things I don't like about the Corsair. So U.S. stuff may have been good, but I don't like how it looked. Like, I think all of my favorite Allied planes are not American planes. Spitfires are just gorgeous. Just freaking gorgeous.
Was it the Corsair originally developed to go on carriers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Marine Corps used them, and
Yeah.
the Navy used them.
Yeah. Hey, side note, I met the guy who shot down Pappy Bollington.
The Japanese dude?
Yeah. Got a picture of him.
Okay. That's right, you showed me a picture of him.
See? See? I was like,
Who shot him down?
this freaking's like 16. Back when they had the big old air shows, Oshkosh. Wisconsin!
Oshkosh Bagosh?
Oshkosh, Bagosh from Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
So, so my favorite Allied planes. So, growing up, the level of my interest of Army, Navy, Air Force for World War II was Navy first. First and foremost. That's what got me reading. The freaking German raiders, those bastards, you know? Bismarck and Graf Spee and all that stuff. You know, that was... The German ships looked cool. They looked freaking cool. And I love the British. The British have the best names. The British have the best freaking names for ships. And they have fun camouflage stuff, you know? And their destroyer captains were like, screw you, we're going in anyways. And they'd freaking win. I mean, they were just freaking badasses, you know? So I always liked the North Atlantic stuff, and I love the Mediterranean stuff. Because the Mediterranean allowed both sides had big fleets. So, you know, the British had a bigger fleet, but it had to be everywhere. So they couldn't all go into the Med. So it ended up being some kind of parity. And, you know, both places could have land-based aircraft. It was just kind of, I like the Mediterranean a lot. But, so I like the Navy stuff, then the Army stuff. Air, whatever. You know, it's just not really my thing. So, I know I mentioned it earlier, I like the Stuka for the Germans.
Yeah.
I like the Stuka,
Yeah.
and I like the Focke-Wulf D9, the one with the long nose. Sexy plane. It's got that crooked spider on this tail, though, but still. They made some cool stuff. They might have not been fighting for the right reasons, but we'll leave it at that. Yeah, British, the Spitfires and the Typhoons, I always liked the way they looked. American planes, and the planes that later in the war, they had some beautiful camouflage.
The P-51. Come on.
It's better with Normandy stripes. I like the Normandy stripes a lot, okay? I like the Normandy stripes make things look really, really good.
Yep.
I don't like any of the olive drab American planes. They're just ugly. Now they worked, they won the war, I get it, but from if I'm gonna build a model, you know, where I gotta look at it, who wants to look at freaking square meters of freaking olive drab ugliness, you know? So now you go into the Navy. The early Navy stuff looked better with the lighter tone blues. Once you get to like the Hellcats and that dark blue that's all one shade and glossy, I think it's ugly as shit. Again, I'm looking at it from the standpoint of like a modeler. Like I'd never build like a Hellcat. I think they're ugly. You know? Sorry. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that.
My first model was actually a P40 with the tiger mouth from the Flying Tigers.
Yep.
And when as a kid, you couldn't figure out
Yep.
these don't look like American markings on them, because it had the Chinese markings with all the yin yang marking, whatever their little star or whatever it was that they had.
What are we doing over there?
Yeah. What else? Yeah, so the Yak 9s and stuff, the late war Russian planes had some beautiful camouflage schemes on them with the blues and the grays and, the other bad guys.
Those guys.
The third bad guy.
Ah.
Japanese, Germans, and the Russians.
Third door.
When I was growing up, my dad never could figure out why, the Allies even dealt with them.
The enemy is my enemy.
I know, but he made a freaking deal with Hitler and gang raped the freaking Poles. That's a dick move.
Dick.
Anyhow,
Yeah.
I think Patton had it right.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. And that's not anti-Russian. That's just anti-communist.
Communist.
I'm fine with Russians.
Yeah.
Especially the girls. They're pretty.
See.
At least the ones on films are.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that. Hetzer. Somebody likes a Hetzer. So if you like the Hetzer, go on YouTube and watch.
Hetzers are us.
Is it the Chieftain? You know who the Chieftain is, right?
It's a British thing, isn't it?
No. But yeah, it's a really cool British tank. Actually, I like the way the Chieftain looks. And when it came out, it had a 120, and the other guys didn't. Well, the Americans had a heavy tank that had a 120 as well, but it was a cool looking tank. But there's a guy named the Chieftain, and he is an Irish tank commander, and he is tied in with the video game World of Tanks, and he'll go to a museum, and he's a tanker, so he'll walk around and open hatches and get inside and talk about all the nooks and crannies of it, and it's really interesting. And he does a Hetzer, and I think he does one on the Hetzer, and it's like, you did not want to be in that thing. It looks cool, but you did not want to serve in that thing. It's
I went to a
it's a contraption.
I went to a reenactment. I seen one. It looked like too small. Because
They're very, very small.
They're a 3-man deal, right?
Driver, I bet they're a 3-man.
It seemed like it was a 3-man
They may
deal.
have a 4th man. I don't remember.
It was like super
They don't have a
small.
hull machine gunner.
Super
There's
small.
no hull machine gun. The only machine gun it has is remote control on the roof. Okay.
It's jammed. You go up.
Yeah, it's jam packed.
I went up last time. Your turn.
I think he talked about that in the video, so go check it out. The Hetzer. Hetzer's got a Hetz.
Ooh.
Yeah. I like playing it in World of Tanks because it's a little badass.
Oh, there you go.
It's got a decent gun. The gun that's in the Panzer IV. It's good for everything except like a JS2 on the front.
There you go.
And the JSUs, that kind of stuff. But any medium tank or whatever, it can take that stuff out. The Corsair is the coolest plane. I think they were a bitch to fly or something like that with the gull wing. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't prefer the radial engine planes. I don't prefer the look of the radial
But they
engine
use them in
planes.
Korea.
Did they?
Yep. Use them for ground support.
Mm-hmm. How'd that work out for them? Did they win that battle?
We get a draw.
You got a draw. KV-2 is definitely the best tank. Well, it's cool if you want to wait a decade to load it again.
So says Ivan from Russia. Okay.
No, it's cool. I like the Russian vehicles. I don't want to be in any of them, but
Tough stuff.
Not into World War II naval Tony? Yes, I am, Marty. Yep. Okay, farts make people laugh no matter context. Okay, Marco. Yeah.
Pull my finger.
Coolest tank ever was the Russian Tsar tank from World War I. Most stupid looking thing ever built. I don't know. I don't think I know that. Now, there were some cool tanks that the Russians built, some one-offs that they used against the Finns. And the Finns didn't capture them this one time. That's the thing about the Finns. The Finns didn't. I don't think the Finns had any tanks, but they did when they got done with the Russians.
They were like, "Oh, we don't want them either."
They had like a T-150 or something like that with multiple turrets, but it looked good. It wasn't like a T-35. They had like 2 or 3 of them that they made one-offs. Those were cool, but they never built them again.
Stick to the Grant.
Stick to the what?
Grant.
Oh, the Grant tank?
Yeah.
So I read about something about the Grant tank recently. I don't know if it's true. You guys can look this up. Supposedly one of the problems with the Grant tank is it had rivets.
Oh.
So when it got hit by something, the rivets would go through, and it would be, flechette on the inside, for the crew. I could see that. I don't know if that's true. Look it up, folks. It's on the internet. It's possible.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Winter in Florida is like KV2 the best. Derek Mercer. I think that means he gave me a thank you very much. I've never gotten one before. So he also has a poem. Derek, if you're still watching, let me know where you're from. I appreciate it. A poem. Tanks are great. That is true. Beef is tasty in a stew. Greatest tank ever made. KV2. Nice! Great poem!
Trick.
Great poem. Go to Gulag.
Dr. Baranya.
Nastaravia.
Yeah.
Dr. Baranya.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a mad scientist at work in Vladivostok. Dr. Baranya.
Nice.
You look like you'll need a new head. Send him to Dr. Varanya.
I like it.
And that's the other reason it's fun to play the Russians is you get to talk like that.
See?
Yeah, so.
And you can make poems with your real game.
Poems or porn?
Poems.
Oh, man. So much for that.
Oh, God. That was good.
That is good. Tanks are great. Tanks are great. That is true. Beef is tasty in a stew. Greatest tank ever made. KV2. Nice. I gotta switch to vodka if we start doing World War II gaming with the Russian. Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll like that, but.
Not yet.
I went to Historicon with Tony and Mitch one year. This is Marty. No one warned me that Tony likes the room at minus 20 degrees. Well, there's no ceiling fan. So when there's no ceiling fan, you got to make it colder.
It felt like the Eastern Front.
Well, I didn't realize that somebody with that much insulation would get cold easy. I mean, I'm always hot. I'm
Marty,
always
cut
hot.
up with Tony.
No.
Oh, God. Oh, man.
Okay, let's see here.
Oh, God.
Marco Mavro. Anarchic peasants are classic. Caesar's last words were Greek. Okay. Kelly Davis. I'm thinking of buying sharp practice by 2 fat lardies for Napoleonic 28mm skirmish. Okay. You do that. Get me a beer, Mitch.
Another one?
Yeah, have another beer. Kelly Davis. I believe Kelly Davis is in Michigan. What does Mitch have in his pockets? Is that a professional vest? Oh.
Ooh. There's all kinds of things in there.
Is there? You got what? A couple of glasses?
Yeah, a couple
Pens?
of glasses that you can see.
Pens, even though you can't write?
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. Mitch is old. He's got like diapers in there.
Exactly.
And a walker. You got a collapsible walker, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. A seeing eye dog you can blow up.
What was that one? Inspector Gadget. Inspector Gadget vest.
My brother liked that, and I thought it was ridiculous. Yeah. It's a professional vest. Yes, it's a Mitch vest.
Yes.
The Night King. Marco Mavro liked the Night King.
Ah.
I don't like the Night King.
Evil dude. The Night King.
Well, since we're back to talking about Game of Thrones, what do we got here? I didn't like any of the Starks, other than Sean Bean. I didn't like any of the Starks.
Who didn't last long? Again.
I didn't. The little girl needed a spanking, and I don't mean that in a she
not
just
that way.
No, she was just mouthy. I didn't care for her. I didn't like Jon Snow. I wouldn't follow him to a porta potty. Yeah, I just didn't. Oh, Sean Bean's wife, the woman that played Sean Bean's wife.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if it came out afterwards or before, but she was the same actress that played some terrorist bitch on the last season of 24, and I couldn't stand her the whole time
Huh.
because of that.
Wow.
You know, so I held that against her,
Oh.
and she was fugly.
Ooh.
So let's see, what else?
Didn't I keep
The
it?
Boltons. Oh, these people.
Those people.
Those people. Who were they again? The Squid people. The CP. I didn't like any of those people.
Was it Iron?
Yeah, the Iron Islands or
Iron
whatever.
Islands, yeah.
Oh, the old woman was awesome.
No, yeah.
She was awesome. She had some good lines
yeah,
too.
Yeah.
She had some good lines too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the last season, we didn't know this at the time, okay? But the last season of Game of Thrones was like the new Star Wars movies. It's exactly the same. No, the problem is they rushed it.
If you got 2 years, you would do a little bit more than what they did.
The path that the Dragon Queen took for freaking ever to get to the end. And then the last scene was just like, right, we got to do it in 2 episodes. And like they rushed everything. And it's like...
Disappointing.
You know?
Disappointing.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anywho.
Yeah.
Right. About that.
Right. Sorry about
that. Sulla, the Revenge of the Conservative Faction. Yeah, he had an interesting history. He had
Sulla did?
Yeah, he was a conservative guy, and I've read some of the stuff about him, but I only read it once, so you know I could get stuff wrong. But he was a conservative guy, and
so you're not like the Rain Man.
Not like who?
Rain Man. The Rain Man, Dustin Hoffman. Oh, you got 300 toothpicks that you just dropped there.
I've only seen that movie once, so I don't remember that. All I remember is Kmart sucks. And Wapner at 5 or whatever. Judge Wapner. Kmart sucks. That's all I remember. Oh, the other thing I remember is, you know, because if you guys haven't seen that movie Rain Man, you know, he's like, he's not well. He has issues. But he's like really smart, but he doesn't have a lot of like common sense stuff. So he'd be like, you know, hey Rain Man, what's 47,374,000 but multiplied by it? And he's like, 270, and he's like, how much is a candy bar? $100. So he had no like common sense stuff. He was ultra specialized.
Oh,
I don't remember the toothpick thing that you said though.
He dropped toothpicks and
right. And he counted them. He knew exactly how many was okay. All right, so he had like a photographic memory.
Yeah.
He had like that eye that the $1 Million Man had.
Yes.
Remember that?
Steve Austin, $1
Million Man. So we're going to show this guy running faster, but we're going to show it in slow motion. What?
So you can keep up with him.
No, it's because people did drugs in the freaking 70s. Nothing else makes sense.
No. Oh, God.
Okay. No, so Sulla was he was a part of the conservative faction, but I forget what his backstory is exactly. But he liked to go to, so supposedly in Roman society, one of the lowest of the low people was actors.
Oh, not tax collectors?
Not tax collectors. No, that was an honorable profession.
Back when it was honorable.
No, I don't know. Nobody liked tax collectors either. But it was, you know, they were along the lines of almost like slaves. Like there was no honor in that. And he would like party with them and stuff like that. He would have, you know, he would hang out with them and stuff like that. So people made fun of him and stuff like that. And eventually he got into politics and whatever. And he ended up being the second in command to Marius, and they went to opposite factions, and they ended up fighting the Civil War against each other, and Marius ended up not winning, and Sulla ended up kind of getting in control, and I don't remember exactly the details, but look him up. He has an interesting story. But when he got out of power, you know, basically half of the people didn't like him because he was on the opposite side of the faction, and he ended up like dying of like he got like worms or something. He died a bad death.
Oh.
He died of bad natural causes, like his insides ate him, or he smelled bad,
shit.
and just really interesting stuff.
That sucks.
But he was the first one to because before that you couldn't bring armies into Rome, and he was the first one to do it. He was the first one to do it, and kind of set the precedent. Like, oh, if that's where we're going to do it, and that's where Caesar got his idea. Even though Caesar was on the opposite faction, he was on the non-conservative faction.
Okay.
So interesting. Look him up. Interesting guy. That was my probably inaccurate version of. But hey, maybe I percolated somebody's brain to to look at it. He wasn't as interesting as Pyrrhus. Pyrrhus is much more interesting.
There you go.
I'm in the great country of Texas, Litco. Marco's in Litco. Is that where Litco is made? No, Litco's in Illinois, I think. The Litco stands are out of Illinois or something like that.
You better know that.
Well, but he doesn't frickin' pay me. I don't want him to pay me.
You better know that.
I don't want people to pay me to support their products because, if let's say I start using Litco stands and they start making them funky shaped and like not square, whoops, I want to call them out on them. It'd be just like if I start painting things and they start looking like shit and I start painting them, purple and green, you should call me out on them. Tell me those look like crap. I may not care, but anyhow. I would make a terrible salesman. I'm not salesy at all. Hey, does this make me look fat? Oh, you screwed up.
Yeah, you fat piece of.
No, you were already fat before you wore it. What? P-51 was amazing and looked amazing. Not the B.
Yeah.
That's the one with the Allison engine that had it had no canopy. It had no bubble canopy.
Yeah, skip that.
Yeah. They had issues with them though with their fuel tank. Whereas if it wasn't if it was at different levels, the plane would behave very differently. So, but apparently they work really well. So,
yep.
It's no Spitfire though. Sorry, Spitfire looks better in my opinion. I'm not one of those people. Well, it's American, so it's got to be better. No. Okay. Sartank Big Penny Farthing. You know what a penny farthing is, don't you? I didn't know what a penny farthing was. Penny farthing is that bike that they used in Victorian times. That the front tire is huge, okay, and the bike and the one on the back is tiny, and the guy's is almost like unicycle-like. Okay, it's called a penny farthing.
Okay. I
don't know why. Maybe penny farting was too rude or something like that. I don't know.
Right. Sorry about that.
Okay. Let's see. Just capping up on videos before bed. Seeing you were live. Yes, awesome. That's Paul Alba, who does some excellent vehicles in 20mm scale. Enjoy your night. What would be a more... Here's Rick Keppen. He's still with us. What would be a more satisfying victory to you in a game of DBA? Oh, we're almost up to... This was at 9:30, did it? It's 9:30. Okay, good. So hopefully you're still watching. What would be a more satisfying victory to you in a game of DBA? Coming back to win after starting 3-0 or winning 4.0? You answer first.
Coming back.
You know what I'm going to say?
Go ahead.
Controlling the pace of the battle the entire game. Even if I lost. That's satisfying. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where I'm doing everything, and you have to react to everything I'm doing, and I'm in control. Whether it's a wall of doom just coming up there and shooting the crap out of you, and you're like, ow, 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 whatever. That's what's satisfying. That's what I like. I like controlling the pace of battle. That's why I usually go on the offense somewhere, don't I?
Yeah.
I'm always on the offense somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's in DBA, it's difficult to go on the offense everywhere unless you have a distinct advantage against the other guy.
Yeah.
Usually you have to play keep away on one side and attack on the other one.
Yeah.
So, what's the best counter against deep nights?
Light horse.
The best counter against deep knights, my rolling the other night.
Light horse, so supported light horse.
What about
Elephants.
crossbow? Yeah, elephants. Well, see, the deep knights give you a +1 against foot. So if you're fighting him with something that's mounted, you don't get that +1, and then you have the chance that if it dies, the first one counts as the second one. Mm-hmm. So naturally, something mounted. So light horse, elephants. Mm-hmm. You know,
those are the best.
Elephants quick kill them, and they're the same number. They're a 4 to 4.
Yep.
Elephant general.
Ooh.
5 to 4. So. And both are impetuous, so they're going to stay locked in.
Yeah.
Unless somebody gets pushed into bad going.
Yeah.
So. Rick Keppen. Back when conventions were a thing. Oh, yeah, back in the old days.
Remember, way back when.
I remember in my young days when we used to go to conventions. Remember when conventions were a thing? You're ever in a game where your opponent moved your figures without your permission. Would it bother you if your opponent continuously touched your figures? See? This asshole will laugh about anything.
I just remember somebody. Yeah. Oh, man. That's funny.
So the worst thing you can do in a game of DBA is play really loose. But then when you're... And we don't play loose.
No.
Okay? But play really loose, but then call other people on when they're playing tight.
Yeah.
And they're not playing loose at all. So it's just dishonorable stuff. It's like, you know what, clown? Yeah, clown. You're going to clowns again. We're going to go outside with freaking baseball bats, and we're going to settle this shit. That's dishonorable gameplay. God. I won't tolerate it. I won't tolerate the dishonorable gameplay. We are fortunate that we do not have that problem. We have the people that come over here. We're all cool. But they also realize that the other thing that's really bad in a game, and this goes for any game, not necessarily DBA, if you win, and you won because of freaking luck, and you know it, don't be a dick and say, oh, I won because I'm a better. Look, both people want to roll good. Somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. And, you can't outsmart somebody and then say, you can't beat somebody with luck and say, oh, that's because you play like a dumbass. Look at the rolling, The other thing is we play so much that it doesn't really matter anymore. I mean, I don't care. I could probably play a lot better if I paid more attention, if I was so worried about beating him. And it's not that I'm not giving it my all, but that's not the most important thing. It isn't. Yeah. Okay? I don't mind losing to this guy. He's a good guy. Now, if it was somebody who was an asshole all the time, and I'm like, you know what, I don't want to lose to that guy. Especially because he plays loose. I'm not mentioning any names, but there's people that are like that. So,
anyways.
And it's like that. If you've got, and the same thing at work, if you've got one employee that is a pain in the ass, and 6 that are good, the good employees aren't going to make that one employee better. The one pain in the ass is going to get everybody else griping and complaining as well. So just take them out back and shoot them.
Oh, man.
No, we do this for free.
Yep.
We do this for stress relief.
Yep.
We do this for enjoyment. The fact that there's a winner and a loser is almost irrelevant.
Yep.
I keep track because it's fun. It's fun to look back. Like somebody asked and said, hey, how many times have you lost a camp? Well, I don't freaking know. If I didn't keep track of that, I wouldn't know. Mm-hmm. Well, it was interesting to go back and see how many times I took one, who took my camp, and I've only lost a camp 4 times in almost 2,000 games, and 3 of them were to the same person. And we remember that's kind of their MO, is one of the things that they like to do. So that was kind of cool to look that back. But if you beat them or not, I mean, I'll razz people like, man, you got 5 more to win. But in a perfect situation, I'll win half the time. This guy wants to win every time because his life really sucks every day. So he needs a win somewhere, okay? So he's a little different, but I don't care if I win or not.
Oh, God. Oh, man.
Let's see. So back when conventions were a thing, you were ever a game where your opponent moved your figures without permission? No.
Yeah.
I don't care if they move my stuff as long as they don't damage it. And most people are okay with it. Most people don't screw with your figures, especially if you own other figures.
Yeah. Right.
You know, that's why I stopped doing convention games, though, is the last time I ran. In 1996, I played a game of Sea Creek 4 when we were playing Sea Creek 4. And I went to a convention and I ran it. And the guy was just, what's the word for just grabbing things? Bare handling? No, there's a name for it. Like,
roughage?
No,
Ruffian?
we'll call it rough handling my miniatures. And I'm like, why am I paying to go to the show, to put on the game, to have somebody, to be stressed out by somebody just kicking my stuff around? You know, it's so DBA, because you're right here, it's less likely that your opponent will have to move your figures because he's the closest one to him to help you out. You know, I really haven't seen much of a problem with it. You know, I really haven't seen much of a problem with it, fortunately.
Not DBA.
The History of Rome Cod Pass is free and outstanding. Highly recommended. Seen it. It's excellent. It's excellent. It's good. Now, the guy that took, and he has, he makes it really interesting. And, yeah, we did all that. When I was starting into the Roman stuff, that's when I listened to it. 2006 or 5, 6, 7, something like that. I listened to it. His stuff is great. Now, the guy that did the Byzantine stuff, I listened to it for a while, but his voice just not, I'm not going to say sucks, but doesn't go, because he's doing a lot of work. He's doing a lot of research, so I'm not going to poo-poo the fact that he's doing all this stuff, but it doesn't grab me and keep me interested. It doesn't keep me interested, you know. And not everybody is necessarily good at that, and that's okay, you know. Another guy that does really good podcasts is Dan Carlin. If you know the history of Rome, you know who Dan Carlin is, and his stuff is great, especially his World War I one was superb. He gets a little slow starting what he's going to talk about, but he does really, really good work. He's got a good meter and all that kind of stuff on there. But yeah, History of Rome is excellent and free. Let's see what we got here. Chaotic at Home. Have you tried collision course rules with littoral armies? Did we?
No. Wait, there's
I was going to grab a Coke and I already have one here, but I'm going to grab a Coke.
Grab the paper.
Grab the who?
The paper for, because I think there's something special about Littoral.
This?
I think so, right? Is it right there?
Oh, here's collision course.
Yeah. Something about Littoral in there.
Here, you read it.
I'll do that.
I can't do all the talking.
Carry on.
Well, actually, I can, but
Carry on. Littoral landings. Columns entirely of troops with the same topography as Littoral may stage a landing, but subject to the following modifications. The landing can be made only with the third column, and it costs 4 pips. The landing is made as a column with either the rear element on the one side edge, all elements of the column touching the waterway.
you read that, but I can't process it until we do it.
Yeah.
That's one thing that's happened even more as I've gotten older. I'm like, unless I do something, I can read it backwards. I'm like, okay, I no comprende.
We haven't done that though.
We have not done it.
We
No,
have not done it.
no, we haven't done it. We haven't done it.
Which is a good point. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, we should try it.
Yeah.
Being crazy, we try it with 2 littoral armies.
Ooh.
Yeah, how about them apples?
Whoa.
Okay. Where has Pinky the Die been?
Oh. Is he
He
sick?
retired.
How is
So
he?
I always would use a dice that. How am I doing on whiskey here?
Uh-oh.
I'm good.
Good.
I only have a buzz. If I'd been drinking beer like you,
Oh boy.
I'm spending the night here.
Hello. Thank goodness I got 2 spare bedrooms.
Maybe I didn't want to sleep in a spare bedroom.
Oh.
I've had not many beers, you know. You never know. It's okay. I know what you like.
Yep.
What was I gonna say? So for the longest time, I would use a dice that would be appropriate to the army. So for instance, if I was playing the Romans, a dice with Roman numerals on it, an Asian army one with the kanji symbols on it, just to kind of get into the theme of it, you know. And then a couple of years ago, I mentioned, somebody overheard me saying, why wouldn't I get a pink die so I can whoop somebody's ass with a pink die and make fun? You know, because some people are like, oh, pink die, I can't, that's going to roll sucky. Well, you know, pink's a color too, folks, you know. And I read somewhere.
Pink has feelings.
I read somewhere that in the Middle East. Oh, cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, is that the beer you're going to have for Kelly?
Here's to you.
Kelly, there's your beer.
There's your beer, Kelly.
It's that Chinese beer named Yingling. You know, I never heard it spelled, and I heard, oh, Yingling. I'm like, what, is that like Tsingtao?
Ha!
Nope. Nope, that's America's oldest brewery. It must be when this... Well, see, the Chinese did get here first in 1424, and they built the brewery called Yingling.
Right next to the railway.
Over. Right next to what?
The railway.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. I mean, I don't have a problem with it because that's the kind of humor I like, but you know. We're in a different age, Mitch, than the age we grew up in. But,
yep.
So yeah, it's part of using the dice that looks like the army. But a couple of years ago, I was like, hey, it'd be kind of fun to, you know, use a die that's pink and whoop somebody's ass with it. You know, another way to, you know, egg people on kind of thing, you know, harmlessly. And this guy overheard me and bought me 3 pink dice. So the one I've been using is the one that stands out the most on the camera because it's the black pips on the, you know, pink is a lighter color, so it's gonna work better with the black pips on it. And I kind of used it ever since. But
it goes like this.
Every die goes like that. Unless you use 2 like cheaters here.
One.
Well, at least you're cheating and winning. Okay. So I read somewhere recently that in the Middle East, I don't know where, but and I don't think it's in modern times. I think in ancient times, pink was a color of a manly color.
Oh.
And I'm thinking, you know, like these Persians or whatever that dressed in pink and stuff.
See?
You know, it was probably an expensive color to make.
Mm.
So then, and then probably pink, not like, oh, make it in red and let it fade in the sun. No, like an actual pink color. It was probably expensive.
30 days in the sun.
Not as expensive as purple, you know, but you know, so it probably came from that. But you know, speaking of colors, what I also read is when I was doing my Irish. So you know, you think that the color of Ireland is
green.
Okay, you know, but traditionally it's not. It's actually yellow.
Wait, yellow.
Yes, so it's actually yellow. I don't know this. I read an article and supposedly.
Oh.
So what happened is that's why like all of their shirts and stuff is like a yellow saffron type color. It's kind of their color, and it has to do to their pre-Christian times of one of their deities was
yellow.
I'm probably botching this all up because I don't have the reference right in front of me, but this is the gist. You guys can look it up and you know, I'm sure you'll probably put it. Yeah. Tony doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. I can only remember a few things, you know, and I'm not even inebriated. But yeah. It had to do to pre-Christian times, the yellow tie-in. So then I started thinking, so I read a little bit more about it, and apparently during the time of
pick a year.
No, who's the guy with the 8 wives? Henry VIII.
Ah.
When he invaded, they apparently did a big push into Ireland and took over about half of it. Okay? So he outlawed them having anything yellow. So and I'm thinking, I wonder if that's where the connotation of yellow being a coward color comes from. I bet it does. I bet that's where it comes from. Where they put that in there. Yeah, probably.
Oh, don't you call
Yeah, because they would use hit and run tactics and stuff like that. Well, you know, you can't bring everybody out there when you have light infantry. You'll get smoked.
There you go.
You know, so I wonder if that's where that tie-in of yellow comes from. You know,
could be.
Anyhow, Dan Carlin's voice gets irritating when he reads letters' original sources. I hate when he does quote end quote. It's just like, yeah, it gets old. I've gotten better about it, but he does that all the freaking time. But I consider myself a World War II nut, but I don't focus on the Pacific. Like I know Pacific stuff when it comes to like up to Guadalcanal, because that's the wargaming we did. We did naval wargaming. We didn't do land wargaming in the Pacific. So if you want me to have like a discourse on what happened in the Philippines when they got invaded in 1944, I don't know anything about it. So Dan Carlin did this one about the Japanese, and it's called Supernova in the East. And I think I've seen them all up to date. I think they're still coming out. I don't know, but because I haven't listened to him for a little while. But they're really good. And I found out stuff about the Pacific War that I didn't know. Like I didn't know about all the little details that happened with MacArthur and Corregidor and the Philippines. You know, when they had to retreat, and it was something I just wasn't interested in. You know, and it was kind of cool learning about World War II stuff that I didn't know. Now, I'm not really interested in the Pacific Theater. I'm sorry. It's just not, you know.
It's not as exciting.
It's not as exciting, you know. So.
Yeah. There's no tanks as much.
So, anyhow.
Infantry.
Yeah, and it's kind of the opposite of the Eastern Front. On the Eastern Front, for most of the time, generally, again, generalization, you got less Germans, more Russians. Germans are better. Russians aren't as good. So they kind of balances each other out. Generally. I know there's exceptions, but generally that's what you're talking about. Not necessarily talking about vehicles, just talking about troop quality most of the time. Okay? In the Pacific, it's the opposite. Japanese not as good, Americans better, more Americans. There's superiority anyway. So it's like not as interesting, you know? It's not as interesting to do. If I had to do land wargaming skirmish in the Pacific, I would either do Guadalcanal, I would do New Guinea, or I would do Burma Road stuff. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Early.
anyhow, it's not a disservice to the people that fought there or anything like that. It's just not as interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So, okay.
Fair.
Marty, I can't believe you're still live. I ran off to eat dinner and you guys are still at it. Tony, a recent read of mine is Tin Cans of Greyhounds by Johnson. Good read. Okay. That's probably Destroyers. Just U.S. Destroyers.
Is that the movie they made? Tom Hanks?
I couldn't stand that movie.
I didn't watch it yet.
It
wasn't very good, I take it.
You just get to the point where I don't know if I know too much or I think I know too much. I can't enjoy things anymore. The fact that they made up complete silly names for all the ships. And there was this one scene where the U-boat surfaces in the back and is coming up and chasing them, and the distance that they're firing each other is like way too freaking close. There's no way you would miss at those distances. I don't know. And the whole U-boat thing where he was speaking and sending him a message through the thing, it was just no. I didn't care for it.
Hollywood.
Those movies are made for people that don't know anything about the conflict, you know?
Hollywood.
So.
Okay.
It was worse than Pearl Harbor.
Oof.
I don't know, Pearl Harbor wasn't that bad, was it?
Yeah, parachutes are kind of good.
The who?
Red dress, parachutes. You know what it is. The chick. She had a red dress. Her so-called boyfriend died, and the best friend takes over. And
Right. I remember that.
Yeah.
Well, it's got Kate Beckinsale. How bad could it be?
Yeah,
right?
see?
Okay.
Hot.
The coolest thing about that movie, well, first of all, when it came out, the scene where he was in Battle of Britain where the Heinkel got blown up, that was cool. Okay.
Yep.
Forget the actors. Ben Affleck sucks.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And there's all the cliches are in there. But that scene where the bomb goes into the Arizona and you could see it buckle before it blows, that was really cool. And it beats the hell out of all movies that come before that, special effects, where like, what do they do? Let's get these old Robert F. Adams class frigates or destroyers up, and we'll put pyrotechnics behind them, or Knox class frigates, modern ships that are just no.
Doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work. So at least they tried doing that stuff.
Yep.
And I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm going to piss some people off, but I don't care because I'm not getting paid. So that's not true. I got paid $5. Thank you very much, sir. We'll put that to good use. I thought Pearl Harbor was better than Midway, than the new Midway.
Oh, yeah.
I did not like the new Midway.
No.
It sucked.
There was no fighters.
Oh yeah, there was no fucking fighters in the whole movie.
What in the hell is wrong with Americans? No fighter support. Japanese got all fighters. Americans just got dive.
I hated that movie. Mm-hmm. That cliche of that bomb bouncing across the thing
The old
and
Midway
then
was
going
so
off.
much better.
The old Midway was better, yeah. And you know what was better than the old Midway? Tora.
Yeah, it was pretty
Tora was really good. Because you had like, we want the miniature of the Nagato, so they had to freaking build a Nagato.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Cool stuff like that.
But in the old Midway, they said which squadron was which, who was in lead, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I hated
the new one.
I hated the new Midway.
Hey, there's the Americans. Hey, we ain't got no fighter support.
Yeah.
Your fighter support is your rear gunner.
But people have different opinions about war movies. Like, for instance, there's people that actually like Thin Red Line.
Yeah.
I know, but okay, him and I, okay, what do we want to see a war movie for? We want to see equipment and action. And I want to see tactics.
Yes.
I don't care about I'm writing to my loved one that war is hell. Yeah, war is hell, but I don't care about that part. Yeah. I'm not interested in this. I'm not interested in that part. That's not what I came to watch. So
again, you see why I like Band of Brothers, Saving Private Ryan.
Band of Brothers is superb.
Yeah,
it's absolutely superb. I wish they did that for all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
it's. They make too many of those and they're like, okay, let's only do it from the American paratrooper viewpoint. Come on, man. How about the Brits? Let's do stuff, that...
Yep. And I thought they were supposed to come out with some new stuff. Must be delayed.
You could do a really interesting one from the French resistance standpoint.
Yeah.
Because the one thing I didn't know about the French resistance... So, one of the things I wanted to do with my skirmishing is possibly do some French resistance fighter stuff. Because it's like... all kinds of stuff. Well, I start reading about this stuff, just cursory, not really in detail. And there were so many factions of the French resistance fighters that were like fighting themselves that, at one point, the Allies before Normandy were coming in and airdropping them with weapons. And then what was happening is they were going to have a problem because the Allies took over. All of these resistance groups were all armed. They were going to have a freaking civil war in France. So they stopped giving them weapons.
Uh-huh.
Because it was you'd have three French guys and you had right-wing guys and left-wing guys and you'd have communists.
Uh-huh.
So the communists didn't like the left-wing guys and they'd assassinate each other and guys would go and steal guns from the other guy. It was well, that makes a good movie though.
Right.
I mean, that makes an excellent movie. So anyhow. It's the same tone whether the source is a little Ole or Tamerlane for Dan Carlin. Who does that recently that... Well, if you guys do any Audible, okay, there's... unfortunately, there's a guy that's prolific, and I love Audible, but the problem is depends who the narrator is. Because the narrator will make it or break it. There's one narrator that's prolific in ancient stuff. He does a lot of Polybius stuff. This guy's name is Charlton Griffin. He has this annoying, almost like an upper class
tone
English accent, but it isn't. And I don't have a problem with an upper class English accent, okay? But this guy's is totally fake. He's from freaking the Northwest. He's from Seattle or Oregon or something like that. Okay? He's somewhere out there. And he mispronounces every other word. And it's so freaking annoying. I got, there's this book called The Jewish War by Josephus. Josephus is a Jewish, I don't know if he was a scholar, but he was a historian that followed around the Romans and kind of documented everything that happened. And the story, it doesn't just happen there. He goes back before that. So he starts with the Maccabees and all that stuff. And I mean, that would make a really good movie because there's all kinds of factions fighting against each other. And one guy would ally with the Parthians and the Parthians would come in. But So there's this story, which is the original text, and it's read by this particular narrator, and every single thing is mispronounced, and it's like banging your head into a wall. I'm like, unfortunately, I did not return it and get my money back, but I get my credit back. But he ruined it. I'm like, after that, I'm like, I'm not doing any more books with him. And unfortunately, by not doing any more books with him, he probably does 200 books on Audible on there, so he's very prolific. If you like Charlton Griffin, well, my condolences, but he mispronounces the hell out of everything.
Right. Sorry about that.
Now, the guy that's doing the Normandy book now, and I forget which Normandy book is. I'm sure there's many Normandy books, but this one came out the last couple of years. This guy's so good with pronunciation. He does like he speaks in a German accent when a German is speaking. He speaks in a French accent when the French is speaking. He does a superb accent. He does Churchill. It may not be perfect, but at least he's making an attempt. Anyhow, very good. I'll have to post on there which Normandy book it is. Maybe I'll finish reading it and tell you if it's worthwhile. But anyhow, we will see here. Let's see what else we got. Chaotic at home. Just between us, since we have a CC tournament coming up. CC. What's a CC? Collision course. Okay, so Chaotic at home, you must be an Aussie. You're considering 454B Medieval Scandinavian Union Army. You have that army. The Scandinavian Union.
Yeah.
That's the guys that have some pikes and some Germans. That's a good all-around army. You should do fine.
Yeah.
Just make sure you use a dice that works.
454?
454B. Let's look at it.
$454.
Overshot it again. You'd make a terrible pilot. Oh, go fly around.
Don, where are you? Which B?
Union, yep. Okay, Knight General. Okay, another knight.
Cav.
A cav. Too fast blade. There you go. Your favorite.
You're already good, dude. Right there. Knights and blades. You're good. He's got a shooter.
He's got a 3 or 4 crossbowmen.
The 3 crossbowmen is the one I would go with.
The fast crossbowmen?
Yep.
Okay. 2 solid spears. And 2 solid spears or pike.
I think I would.
I'd take the spears.
Yeah.
You don't have to give up any flanks that way.
Yep. And
you don't gain anything with the pikes that you don't already have with the other elements.
Then you get another crossbowman.
And you got a Saloy, right?
Saloy.
Uncle Artie.
I would go with the Saloy just to have that.
Uncle Artie or a fast knight or a deep, a regular knight or a deep knight. You know me, I'd take the artillery piece.
Yeah.
That's a good army.
Yeah.
You have that army.
Yes. Yeah, I like that army. It's fun.
Are they littoral?
They are.
Three?
Littoral 3, though, so most of the time there's a good chance it's going to go to the other guy.
Well, you get to figure out that littoral landing, won't you?
Yeah, it's a nice army.
Yeah.
That's
a good army. That's an army that would handle any open tournament. That's the funny thing is we don't do a lot of open gaming anymore.
Yep.
We don't do hey, bring your biggest and baddest, and I'll bring my biggest and baddest, and we'll fight. You guys see that all the time, okay? Yeah. You guys need to see Saloy silliness and things that are irregular.
Themes are fun.
They are, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so you can necessarily think outside the box, but play outside the box. Rick Keppen, this is a great question. Have you ever named a tactic after someone you played with? Does anyone ever exclaim, "You just pulled a Tony"? Well, you do with that little Saloy when I don't go past it.
Yeah.
But that was the old Tony.
That was the old Tony.
And
the old Tony took so long to get used to. Like, you got to move past the Saloy to get the negative. You move up.
How many games of previous versions of DBA that I play versus you?
Man,
I've already played freaking 800 games of old DBA.
I think 20-some, the first 20-some games you had a hard time with moving past. And then finally it was like, okay, I gotta move past the Saloy to give him a negative. But it took him a long time. That was a hard thing for you. 1.
Yeah, you're still behind in games.
Barely.
when I had a hard time with that, I was a lot farther ahead than that. Maybe I should have
He
trouble
doesn't want
doing
to
that.
admit, but I remember I was like almost 70 games behind him. I was.
Well, we can go. I mean, we can go and look. I don't know about 70.
It was pretty
Really?
close to 70. Go look at the worst. All right, here's your deal. Go look.
Oh,
and see
I
what
can
the
go by
worst-
date and see where
Yes.
you are.
Go look within the first 2 years how far behind I was.
Really?
First 2 years.
I should have just stopped then.
Yep.
Yep.
See? But not anymore. Now the
I'm telling
master.
you win like a few more games, less than 10 games,
Now
and then
the
you have to do all,
masters.
he's got to do all the filming, you got to do all the painting,
Salmonite.
you got to put on shoes, he's got to wear shoes.
Salmonite.
If you play the Sam Knights and you win the first game with them, I'm mailing them back.
I don't know if I want to. I might throw the first
And you know
game.
you know what then? He'll have to pay tax on it.
Ooh, that hurts.
Somebody actually mentioned to me, said, "Hey, if I send you something, do you have to pay taxes on it?" I'm like, "But it's free." So okay, in American math, okay, 0 times say 30% is what? 0. Okay, it's nothing. Okay, you can't pay taxes on something that you didn't pay anything for.
Sorry, America.
Yeah, America. This country isn't perfect, but we're working on it.
Yeah.
And we have ice for our whiskey.
Cheers.
Cheers. But not for our beer. That's too far. That's too far.
Next.
Does anybody exclaim?
What?
No, about what other people. I don't think that there's a move that. My move would have been the Saloy ambush. Would have been the Saloy ambush.
Move was the Saloy ambush.
There's no, do I have a move now? I don't think so. Yeah, Saloy ambush, man.
Yeah, the old move was Saloy ambush.
I loved it, and I'm fine not doing it. It's like the game's better now.
And the teacher made the apprentice one time even acknowledge somebody else. Oh, you're the one that games with Tony. Because I used this Saloy ambush on, I think it was Dice Man or...
Oh, you caught somebody with their pants down?
Yeah, with the Saloy ambush. Because they didn't know who I was until I pulled the Saloy ambush on them. And they're like, oh, you're the one that games with Tony.
It still wasn't as good as when Luke shows up to Historicon for the first time and wipes the floor with people that are very difficult to beat because they didn't know who he was.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be the greatest tactical mind or roll the best. But if you play every freaking week, it's not that you're gonna learn things or be great at them, but there's so many things that you don't have to give a second thought to.
Yeah.
So you can focus on, okay, how am I gonna work on this flank and not have to worry about every single little detail about the game.
Yeah.
You just over and over and over and over. And we play hard. I think we as I like to say, I like to try to get milk out of a brick. Okay? Every single thing you can get, but then at the same time I acknowledge it's cheesy. Like that's the other thing we're saying. If you're playing with people that like, oh well, that's cheesy. Well then they do the same thing, but when they do it, it's not cheesy. Okay, that's it. Bats in the front yard.
Yeah.
We're gonna knock each other out.
Yeah.
This dishonorable shit. Just admit when. It would be great if the game did not allow any cheesy moves, but it does, and that's okay as long as you acknowledge that they're cheesy.
Cha-ching.
So, yeah, Luke has this thing, but yeah, he went up there and wiped the floor with three people. They're like,
It's my son.
was that the one where
And
somebody
he played
actually
with
fell off of the chair too?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Somebody actually was so surprised that they got wounded.
Yep.
Anyways, that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But Luke, now we all have our mannerisms of things that we do, but I don't know that the only thing I can think of is I used to love to do that because it was so cool. It was so cool because it was a unit that doesn't get any respect.
Yeah.
And then you force people to respect it. When I was playing World War II Naval, I loved to play destroyers because you always wanted to go after the battleship and get that torpedo run. And once you get hit by a torpedo, it seems just like that lock with the dice where the blade kills the knight.
Yep.
It seems like you frequently get a magazine explosion,
Yep.
even though there's a low chance of doing it, and then the whole thing goes up. That's right. And then you just had the littlest guy freaking disrespect your biggest guy. I like them apples. Yeah, so that stuff's cool.
Oh man.
Recent read, Donald Kagan, History of the Peloponnesian War. Awesome. Okay, was he the guy that was the British historian? I'm not sure if he was the guy I was thinking about. There was an English historian that used to be on the History Channel way back when I used to have cable. On the History Channel, and they would have like a show on like Normandy or something like that, and they would tell the story, have footage, and then they would, here's this historian, and then they would do a little bit further, and they would have a different one. And he used to be on there quite a bit. If it's the guy I'm thinking of, he passed away now. He did the History of Warfare or something like that. I started reading his book, which jumped all over the place. Like it had chapters of like stone, so like everything that happened when stone was involved, or steel, or but it jumped around. Like it might have something about the Assyrians, and then have something out of World War II, and something so. It's okay for somebody who knows a lot about history, because they can jump around and kind of put all the pieces where they go.
But not everybody.
But not everybody can do that. Somebody can specialize in it. So
Yeah.
if that's the guy I'm thinking of, yeah, he passed away a few years ago. If that's the guy I'm thinking of, Marty Schmidt. What? You never heard of the Martian Flip, dude? The Martian Flip was before my time. You guys. Before I started playing, you did all that stuff, so yeah. And it sounds like you ruined the game with that. We don't have that problem anymore.
Way to go, Marty.
My war wagons are all on 40x40s. How about yours?
Cha-ching. No comment.
Okay.
Fifth.
Yeah. I can cut them down if you want. You want me to do that?
Nope.
Keegan's the guy I'm thinking of. I don't know who Kagan is. There's a guy on Audible that Audible has discourses, and there's a guy who is a professor at Tulane. I believe it's Tulane, which is in New Orleans, and his stuff is great. He has a 26-part one on Alexander. It's superb, and he's very interesting to listen to. I don't remember what his name is right now, but he's
that guy.
He's that guy, yeah. Has anybody mentioned rutabagas yet? Oops.
Oh,
I just did.
You did.
That's right, rutabagas. Well, they're not in play, so
Yeah.
there's no chance of rutabagas there. So
game on.
Loot the baggage was my specialty. Okay, that must have been in DBM. They have the baggage elements. So I guess it's kind of like a
You
camp
like
taken.
the clothes, huh?
Yeah.
You like trying them on, don't
Camp
you?
taken.
Yep. You like to try on the clothes.
He likes to try them on and then turn them inside
Other
out.
people's clothes, huh? That's you, huh?
Yeah, or at least his troops did.
How do you like being purple?
That's like a camp rating thing.
There you go.
We've talked about this. I mean, even in the old game where it's worth 2 elements,
Yeah.
I still didn't attack the camp.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the end all. It's not like
not
let's go
my
after
game
his
plan.
camp. No.
Only if it's like right there. Okay, if you're gonna flop
Or
this thing in
undefended.
front
If you're
of
not
me-
going to defend your camp at all.
Okay, I'm gonna walk in there. Yep.
Or if it works to threaten the camp while keeping your army in command. Because there's no point in like, hey, let's split my guys every which
But
way.
in the original battle plan, it's not in there.
Yeah. Yeah, so. Yeah, John Keegan is the guy I was thinking of. Sorry, Keegan. Yeah, okay. And that's it. We're to the end.
We're caught up.
We're caught up. 3 hours and 14 minutes.
Woo!
So.
And 25 questions from one guy.
Yeah, no, that was good. That was a good one. I was entertained.
Yes.
I need
you guys were.
I need a drink after all that talking.
Drink.
Drink.
I drink a lot.
How many beers did you have?
I don't know.
What? Count the bottle.
Go ahead, count.
You know how we know how many beers he had?
Rewind it.
No, you know how many beers we know he had? Just count how many are in the wastebasket. Divide by 1.
Yes.
That's how many he had.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
So if there's no other questions, you guys don't forget to send any more in for next session.
Yes.
And we'll catch you guys on the flip side.
Hopefully you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah. Had several people that came in and out, so I appreciate that. And happy Friday. Or
Hump Day!
Or Hump Day. I don't care what he's going to do later on, okay? I'm just saying it's a Friday.
Woo!
Okay. All right, folks. Until next time, that's thanks for you guys joining. You have a good night too, Rick. Thanks for coming by. And we're going to try that battle thing that he said. What do you think? About that pips or whatever?
Especially with the Mongols. They might make them playable.
Wait a second. So you're saying I need to build a Mongol army?
No, don't build them. We'll just try them with the Magyar.
They'll lose.
Or the Scythians.
Oh.
We already got 2 almost Mongol armies. So
Shitty armies.
Yep.
Okay. Are Magyars a high aggression? Because Scythians are 4.
Yeah.
So they could find themselves in a forest.
Yeah.
Magyars, I think, are 2.
Could be.
Yeah.
But
anyhow, we can
might
do
try
that.
them out. Because I like that idea.
Oh, Marty says, wait. What, he's got to
Wait.
go to the bathroom or something? Put on a diaper, pal.
Hey!
All right, I'll finish my drink.
Hey!
Anybody know any good jokes?
All right. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Nothing?
Nothing? We're waiting. Going once. Going twice.
We got stuff to do. We gotta play like 3 more battles tonight.
Yes.
It's like 10:20. No, I'm not playing anything.
For me, it's Wednesday. Hump Day!
We gotta plug in. I brought my computer so I can plug in my stats and find out exactly where you fall.
Here coming up.
You could take over filming, pal.
No, not that.
Yeah, you could take over filming.
Nope.
Marty must be extremely. Marty, you've had 3 hours to get your question in.
Marty, you went out for supper. You came back. Come on, Marty.
Pinch it, Marty.
All right.
Oh, good night. The Marty tease. It's the Martian flip.
Yeah.
He says he has a question and then he flips. Nah, never mind. I'll never.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go to
Save
bed.
it for next time. You guys have any questions after you watch this? Make sure you put them down in the description of this video. When I get enough of them, or somebody donates like freaking 25 questions, that helped a lot. That's why we're able to turn. Yeah, and it's fun. They don't have to be DBA related. They can be comedy related. If they get too, if they get too PG-13 or rated R,
don't go there.
we may answer them. We may not. You know, we don't want to find out what kind of underwear this guy wears or something like that. We're not interested in that. So, what? Striped? Yellow? Yellow underwear? Anyhow, you guys know what kind of questions you want to ask, so it can be DBA related, and this was fun. So this is irrespective of doing game videos, we'll go from there. All right, and see you, folks. Enjoy your weekend if you have one.
Yes, or your hump day.
If you work a weird schedule like this guy.
2 more days.
All right. Okay, folks. Good night, and until next time. See ya.